Hello everyone. I hope you are doing well. So I know you have been getting the uploads of me playing Portal with Pickle, but I will interrupt that briefly just to get this video out of the way, which is an interview I had. I mean, as you can see by the title, and I say interview. It's not really an interview, but it was a talk me and the guys had with Steve Bono, which is a person who is responsible for a lot of changes to Hasbro and a lot of creations, as you'll see if you watch the video. I do need to mention that the audio quality is not great because this was kind of done sort of rushed and kind of very casually. So do bear that in mind. As well as I need to inform you that it was recorded on the 21st of February. So it has been quite a long time since it thing. We had gotten the release of Beyblade or Beyblade X or Generation X or whatever, which was very disappointing. Let me just say. And also keep in mind that this I will also send this video to Blue Wolf as he also requested and he wanted to know if you can get it. So I have sent it to him as well. Mine will be mostly unedited. I did cut out some stuff, and if you see a blank screen, it's because it was showing something that I, can't show. So do bear that in mind. And again, my apologies for the audio quality. If you hear some weird noises, it's the printer printing. I was close to the microphone, and at the time I didn't know it was picking it up. So yeah, after a while it does stop because the print finishes, but yeah, keep that in mind. So, don't want to drag this out too long. Hope you enjoy. And yeah, I'll let Steve take it from here. See ya!
As far as Beyblade goes, I worked at Hasbro for about 25 years, I think.
Man.
And I had been there for I think I'd been there for about 6 or 7 years when Beyblade came around. And it was right after we had sort of worked on some on Pokemon. We had learned about how that was a big hit. And so Hasbro was very tuned into the idea of Japanese brands, bringing them over and trying to make a big deal out of what their potential could be. So I ended up working on Beyblade. I was the lead designer on Beyblade for that first run from like 01 to 04, 05 maybe. And then I went on to some other brands. I worked on Star Wars, Transformers, G.I. Joe, etc. And then when Beyblade came back again in the 2010s, then I worked on it again, that second generation.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
What's the process of things in Japan, like Beyblade, and it coming over to America? How does that work? Do you have any say in that, or is it just all up to Hasbro?
Well, Hasbro and Takara Tomy have a partnership based on their relationship with Transformers. So they had already been sort of working in that relationship to bring that brand. That was a true partnership where it's shared equally. Whereas Beyblade was owned by
Takara,
Japanese company, Takara, and they and so then Hasbro would essentially constantly be in talks with them about, well, what other brands could we work on, could we bring over, and actually Takara was a licensor as well. The brand was owned by D-Rights, which was another Japanese company.
Yes.
They were for the anime.
D-Rights. I'm sure none of us, or at least none of Mr. Wolf, that hasn't never heard of them before. That's just he gets into trouble with them every now and a while.
Yeah. But it was a weird relationship because Takara actually designed all the tops. And so D-Rights then, even though they owned the property, they were sort of beholden to Takara to create all these things. So it was just an unusual relationship. But Takara essentially sort of led the initiative to create everything. And then depending how that did, when that first series came out, it was just wildly popular, much like Pokemon and, Power Rangers and other brands like that. So they
Yu-Gi-Oh! And Digimon and so forth.
Yeah. So Hasbro was really interested to work on that with them. And then so when I came along, when I came on board, my job was to figure out how to bring their tops to the Western market. So basically they own the Asian market, and then Hasbro had the rights to the rest of the world. And so what we had to do was look at what they had and see if there was any any issues with converting that to to our market. So that involved like the marketing message, the packaging, but
Safety.
mostly involved the physical, like the performance of the tops and safety.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
safety
Yeah. I
was a big
figured.
deal. Those things spin at like 50,000 RPMs or something, and they could be dangerous. So
True.
we really were concerned about, could there be any injuries from these? And there were. I'm sure there were plenty of people that hurt their fingers or any other number of things from the top. But and so the main way that you can see the difference between our two offerings was in the stadiums, whereas we had to make some very
unique
higher wall
ones.
and more durable stadiums, and the Japanese stadiums were always smaller and more like that wasn't. They had different safety standards than we did. So that was my main job, to convert anything that seemed to be that wouldn't fit our safety standards, and see if I had to redesign anything to fit. Other than that, I worked on helping them with characters and helping them with storylines and things like that, and weird things like, for example, pink means one thing in the Japanese market, doesn't mean anything, just a color, whereas in our boy centric Western market, we didn't have a pink top. So we would change colors that we thought weren't boy, colors or boy appropriate.
So it's kind of like, it's kind of like that. There's for the cartoons, there was also like when they got carried over to the sort of Western market, they have like the people who did it. They like censored a lot of things, even guns and stuff. They censored. I forgot. It's something for kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it was something along those lines. Because I actually, as you might have guessed, all four of us here have rewatched the original series, the Plastic Gen as it's referred, and probably an unhealthy amount of times. And I also ventured into rewatching the entire trilogy in Japanese with English subtitles. And then, I have some screenshots of things that were cut out that, I could see why. There's one where, like, Tyson is doing a handstand naked with a bay on his butt. So that was certainly understandable.
I don't get, say I never saw that scene, yeah. But
was there a main reason why, I don't know if you would know this, but was there a reason why there were some scenes from the Japanese version that were cut in the dub version, or was that partially Nelvana's doing?
That is entirely was Nelvana's responsibility, and they were the sort of the North American licensor, so we actually had to get approval from them on everything that we did.
Okay.
And they shared ownership with, I don't know if they sub-licensed it from D-Rights or they had a partnership with D-Rights, but yeah, so those were the four major stakeholders, were Takara, Hasbro, D-Rights, and Nelvana. And Nelvana was totally, that was their arena, was to change any sort of entertainment that they felt needed to be edited or whatever to fit all the markets that they had to serve. Because they were, like I said, they were the whole Western world. So any kind of, if there was one country that had one issue with a certain type of whatever it was, they might have edited the series so that all the Western countries would take it.
Oh, so it's just like a blanket version for everywhere in the West.
Right.
world.
Yeah.
So basically, it's similar to what 4Kids did in America with Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, basically.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Jelly-filled donuts.
So my question is, have you ever met with some of the music producers of the original Beyblade show? Because, Beyblade from season 1 to 3, the original series, Plastic Gen, basically, they have a lot of good music.
Oh, yeah.
In each
really good music, yeah. No, they would send us samples of the music, actually. So if we wanted to use it in, like an electronic top or something and put the music in, we could have done that. But so we had samples. We never really met with them or had any sort of influence over how that was done. The only people I actually ever met with, what you guys already know, I met with the voice actors.
Yeah. I gotta say, it was. Oh, sorry. My apologies. Go on.
My only connection to the entertainment was the voice actors, really.
I gotta say, it was a pretty brave choice on their part to actually use kids or teenagers, if you will, to actually voice. Because usually it's done by female, by women doing
Right.
little kids. That sounds bad.
Their voice won't change. They'll be able to keep it consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I actually, surprisingly, even though there are some, I don't know if you've ever seen it before, the actual trilogy.
I saw one of them, and it was back in was like 20 some years ago. So it's been a while. Yeah, I did watch all the animated series episodes when they came out, but I haven't seen them since.
Ah, okay. So
Okay.
which actually segues perfectly to a question I had. What is your? Do you still have any sort of relationship to Beyblade? Is it just something you did like as a job, don't really care much about right now?
I have a love for Beyblade just because it was sort of the first brand that I got to sort of own as a designer and drive
Oh.
any innovation that happened with it. Or I had a more responsibility with that than any other brand that I worked on up to that point.
Nice.
So I was really proud of it. I was really excited at the success that it had, and I was, I even had, fans that I would talk to a lot because we would go to the tournaments. We'd go to we had a world championship where we had kids from each country represented, and they were awesome. And I was just so cool to just meet all these kids, and they were excited to meet me, and I was excited to meet them. It was just really fun.
Did you go?
That part of it is unlike any other toy brand that I've worked on over the years, because I felt like I had a major role in its success. Even though it all basically comes down to an awesome product, an awesome toy that was designed by people in Japan.
True.
So I give them the credit, but I was really happy to be involved with making it a big deal for the markets that we represented.
All right.
So, you said there was like kind of things that's all kind of like Hasbro, Takara, D-Rights, Nelvana. There were lots of Beyblades which were in the show but never made it to production, to stores, and to actual toys. Were you guys only allowed to use like the Japanese variants, or because you did make a few of your own parts, like for the plastics, or but like. Yeah. Would have you like if you said for that from the show or another random release? Would you, if you wanted to, could you have made that?
Let's see. I'm trying to remember the specifics of how that worked. So that we basically ran with the tops that we thought were the best performers and the ones that fit our safety standards. Like the one that I remember the most was the one that sparked in the Japanese market.
Spark Knight?
I think that might have been it. Yeah. And we had to take the sparking mechanism out.
Oh, that's where there was no sandpaper or flint inside.
Yeah. And I'll never forget. I had a meeting with a lawyer, Hasbro's top lawyer.
Oh boy!
And it was. I just thought it was comical, but it was. He said, we can't make this. You can't make this top. Like, what if a kid is playing with this top in a pool of gasoline?
Oh my god!
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Jerry Seinfeld bit, but I was like, if the kid is playing in a pool of gasoline, I don't think safety is the top concern of this.
I think there's some more concerning thing than a few sparks. The kid is playing on top of gasoline. I'm pretty sure the gases would just knock him out at that point.
Right. But I mean, to be fair, like Hasbro never made. I mean, and toy companies in general don't make open spark toys anymore. It's just not, it's not safe. So, so to be fair to that lawyer, like, we wouldn't have done that. But
I mean, it's not like it was like that big of a deal anyway. Spark Knight was mediocre at best.
Yeah. And actually, years later, I did try to make a spark mechanism that was contained in like a bubble, so when the tops would hit, so you could see the sparks within, but we could never get that to work because it was really challenging. But I always remember that sparking top, and I wanted to like do it justice someday.
What's your opinion about like some off brands that sells like weight disc that has this little flint to actually make it spark? What are your thoughts on that?
I always felt like if there was enough interest or love for the the brand for Beyblade in general, that people were making custom parts or knockoff parts, that was sort of a good thing. Does that mean it was a popular, thing in the world, and people just wanted to make more and more for it. And if it was something that I couldn't deliver as a toy designer, but somebody else could, I was fine with it.
It's funny you should mention that. I have something to follow up on that, but let me get a question for. So you said you were responsible to what parts go on what product. Is that correct? From Beyblades?
For the most part, yeah, that was my job.
I noticed that especially I believe G Revolution, which was the last season, there were bases that usually had just like pretty generic blade bases. Like Death Gargoyle and also
Galleon 2.
Galleon 2. Wait, Galleon 2? Galleon 2 never got even released in Hasbro. Did it?
Oh, that's great. I actually have a question for that, but go on.
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask. So yeah, were you the one who, for example, made it so Dark Gargoyle, I believe that's the Hasbro name, which was like a red Beyblade. It had a different blade base. Was that like your role?
No, that would have been there was an engineering team that handled sort of safety and modification. So we would look at all these pieces, and if there were any concerns, they would have to modify. And actually, I believe the engineer who was at the factory would have to modify and show us samples of what they were doing to fit our designs. But as far as actually designing it or the final call, that was not my call. I was just recommending.
Okay, I see. All right, I'll let someone else ask something now.
Sure.
Yeah, so I actually have a question for you, Steve. Was there a reason why the rest of the HMS toy lines or even the other plastic blades were not released for Hasbro, like Shining God MS, Dragon MS, UV, and Bloody Devil, and some of the Dark Beyblades from the movie?
Oh, Bloody Devil! I forgot about that one.
Would you like me to bring up a picture of these Beyblades? Perhaps it will jog the memory.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to stream my screen. Let me make sure I close all the porn tabs. Just give me 1 second.
Really?
So while you're doing that, I remember HMS I thought it was an awesome expansion of the line, but what happened with HMS was that sales had been dropping, and that Beyblade was sort of running a 3-year window, for these sort of these brands that become a phenomenon. They start off with a sort of people don't know what they are, then they become popular, then they have that huge second year, and then they tail off. And when they tail off, retailers tend to not order as many, and it just sort of it's self-fulfilling, where it peters out. So
well,
I think what happened with HMS was they thought it was on its way out, and they didn't feel like it was a sort of an evergreen brand that would be around every year, and they just didn't support it. So it ended up becoming a marketing and a sales decision. They have fewer tops in the line, and then it just sort of went away.
Okay, so that was the reason, just like poor toy sales, basically.
Well, I'd like to say it was just poor toy sales, but like I said, I think what happens a lot with toys is that if it's not supported with a lot of advertising, and if the animated series is over, then you make it go away. Like you could put the resources toward any toy brand and keep it going, but if you pull away the support, it'll just it won't hit those heights that it was at. So if it made if it set records in sales in its second year, and then it doesn't hit those records the third year, people get down on it, even though the numbers are still good. It's an unfortunate thing that happens a lot with a lot of retailers, and mostly in the toy industry. It happens all the time.
Which makes sense. But sorry, let me just say one quick thing. Which makes sense because people were already kind of on the fence with HMS because, we spent like 3 seasons with like Beyblades that were all interchangeable with each other pretty much. And then came in HMS, which it was its own thing, and you couldn't like mix it or you couldn't even battle. Well, you could, but you shouldn't even battle. The HMS Beyblades against the other generations because they would break.
Right.
So that already was like a little bit negative, and besides, it's as if stated, the anime had already ended. So there was not even that much marketing power because let's be honest. as much as I like the anime, I understand that animes are pretty much just like 24-minute ads. They serve to, they tell a story and all that and all good, but in terms of corporate, they're good to sell toys.
Yeah, we also found that just the fact that the anime was being broadcast sort of validated that Beyblade was still a thing that was current, that was cool. And so if kids just knew it was on TV, they didn't even watch it, but they knew it was on TV, so they knew Beyblade was a big deal. And when that stopped being broadcast, then they thought, even kids are like, well, there's no more new shows. I guess it's not a big deal anymore.
They're not gonna recognize these babes. Like, who is this? Who is Bloody Devil?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think with regard to the hard metal system, even Takara, they probably knew that they wanted to sustain it as long as possible, and they knew that the end might have been coming, so they thought, we'll do this whole new thing, but all metal is like a big marketing message, it's a big catchy sales message, and they introduced that to try to prop it up in their own market, and then to prop it up in our market. But like I said, once it's on its way down, it's hard to get it back up.
So does that lead to a metal fight? Does that from their ideas of the top, does that lead to metal fight like later?
Sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
My God, the change of quality, Jesus Christ.
What I'm saying is, you said like you saying like having metal on the top seems like a brand new thing or something of the sort. So is that the reason why it kind of led up to like metal fusion, metal fight in like 2008?
Yeah, I think so. It was. It also has to do with, if you want to introduce new tops, they have to be better, superior to anything that's come before. So if you were to do that next generation of tops against the first generation, they would obviously blow them away because they were heavier and so that is the other reasoning, is that it keep having the quality and the product has to be better each time, and so that's what they did, and they introduced all metal because it's also very cool. It's a cool message, and you can tell it indicates quality. It's like having a die-cast anything,
Die-cast cars, Hot Wheels, for example.
Considered high quality. So
I will say MFB is by far, in my opinion, the best generation to battle. At least it's the funnest.
Yeah, I thought they were great.
That's true.
But sorry, won't there be more risk because the tops are more heavier and harder, and kids could get more injured because of that?
That's a good point.
That's true, except that you'd like to think that sort of you're training your audience and your customers to become better at what they're doing. So even though it's a whole new generation of kids, the product and the people that sell the product are still the same people, and they're they see the progression. They said, well, we went to metal tops, and now the customer knows how to battle with these tops, and they're just going to get better. The tops are going to get better, and the skill of the people that are buying them and the people that are playing with them are going to improve as well.
Yeah, because if you think about it as well, with Plastic Gen, it was the first time ever that they weren't like anything like that existed. I mean, obviously, even here, from where I live, we have something called umpiang, which was basically like a spinning top, like made of wood. So that was already a thing, but Beyblade wasn't a thing. By the time MFB came out, Beyblade was a pretty well-established brand that even if new kids didn't, their parents most likely knew about them. So they could probably educate their kids or know if what they're buying for their kids is good or if it's too dangerous or what have you.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I think that you have to think about the perspective of the adults who are making it versus the kids who are buying it. Is, we're teaching them, they're getting better, these tops are improving, and, there weren't, just anecdotally, I wasn't aware of a lot of issues safety-wise with the first generation. Now, I'm sure there were there's always injuries with every toy.
Oh, yeah.
But, we were not, I don't remember being flooded with complaints and lawsuits or anything like that. So I believe the more you make of something, the more it's acceptable, and they were allowing us to continue to improve the product. So,
Well, if,
unless there's some major issue, the toy industry has these sort of moments where something has to be changed, and the safety standards have changed throughout the industry, and Beyblade didn't have any of those types of moments.
well, anything it does with a top or any kind of toy is mostly their fault. It's not really the fault of the manufacturer, because I can remember even as a kid, like when I had my plastic generation, I always like launch my tops in the air. Sometimes it hit my face. So that's stupid.
Yeah, that's not how you're supposed to do it, right?
Dragoon
Yeah,
is
you
a
can't account
special
for-
kid. It's just something we should mention. He's a special boy. He lives in our hearts.
Oh, that's good.
You can't blame me. By the way, you cannot blame me from what I said. You yourself said you launched him in the air. It's not my fault, okay? You set the foundation from what I said.
Well. Any kid, like I don't know what kid will ever play with a top with gasoline, but I'm just saying it's most
Fair enough.
kids, they get hurt.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I can remember meeting with multiple lawyers about all kinds of different safety issues with all brands, and we, our argument is always like, we design it as safe as it can possibly be, and for it being used in its proper way. If you use it properly, it should be completely safe. But I mean, I could take a 12-inch action figure, hit you over the head with it. I can't design around that. That's something that it's being used as a projectile or a weapon. So if you use anything the wrong way, it's going to be a problem. But if used properly and with the right instruction, it should be completely fine. So that's why tops were able to get more superior in each wave, and heavier, and with better features, and more superior spin, all that.
Oh, so what?
Sorry, would you say the market would have changed, like from kind of plastic? You might have younger kids, and then metal, obviously, because it's a harder substance, and if you do get hit by it, then it might hurt more. Would you say there's a change in customers, or?
Well, I think the customers always liked it from the beginning, and it was never like, I don't remember ever hearing, these are dangerous now, or like we can't do them because they're too heavy. And it was more of a marketing and sales message that they're better, they're heavier, they spin faster, they're more durable. And they always had some amount of metal in them, even from the beginning. So there was that weight disc or whatever in the beginning, and it became there was a metal element, so in the DNA of Beyblade, there's always that metal element. It just grew to the point where they were, 90% metal tops at some point.
Yeah, which was a really cool idea. I gotta say, I still think it was Metal Fight, despite the anime sucking. It was pretty good. I thought the toys were pretty cool. I thought the customization was actually pretty dope. And the battles, certainly, there's no way to describe how cool it feels to hear the blinks of the of them hitting each other.
Yeah. The other thing that really unique about Beyblade compared to other toys, and this is something
customization,
it's the only toy where there's a real aspect of sport to it, and it's real. Like you're not, there's no fantasy to which top wins. You see it. It's visceral, and it's physical, and there's a you got adrenaline around like how they battle. And so what we talked about right from the very beginning was, this is unique. This should be positioned as a sport. This is not a toy. This is a sport. It's a lifestyle and a sport. And that was like, I think that was key to like making it what it was, versus collecting GI Joes. That's cool too, but that's not the same thing. It's not a sport. So I really thought that there's always a winner, there's always a loser, and there's and there's no argument about how you got there, because it's real. And I think that's awesome about what Beyblade is. Like, it's
very
really
true.
unique.
Very true.
Anything with that has some level of competition, it should be classified as a sport.
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is considered, or sorry, trading card games are sports, technically, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're much a sports as chess
Somewhat.
is.
So
Yeah.
why isn't Beyblade at the Olympics?
Can you imagine?
Okay.
Like kids Olympics, but it would be like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and like Beat-em-on and I don't know what
I actually have a
and
question.
Bakugan and Beyblades. That would be dope, bro. Nah, are you kidding me? That would be pretty cool. The kids Olympics.
That would.
I actually have a question regarding to Beat-em-on. How come there wasn't any collaboration between Beyblade and Battle Beat-em-on?
That's not up to him. He doesn't own the brands.
Well,
I know, but like that was kind of a missed opportunity because Battle Beat-em-on was kind of getting popular at that point,
Oh yeah.
and Beyblade was just ending.
yes. I did a lot of work on Beat-em-on as well.
Oh.
Okay.
I did. But the Beat-em-on never reached the same level of enthusiasm, both with like fans as well as with internally within the corporate world. Like it just wasn't as big of a brand. It wasn't as big a deal, and so it never.
Okay. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah,
Again,
I mean,
we
we tried to sell it, and we tried to make that was the next Beyblade, but it really wasn't. It was, it had the same idea about it's anime-based
Actually-
competition, but the quality of battling wasn't as good. Like
Actually,
Beyblade
Steve,
had that.
I have
It was an interesting and fun concept, but yeah, like looking back, it was kind of like a poor man's version to Beyblade. It's similar to what I think.
Oh my god, that's really rude. How dare you?
It's called marbles. Marbles versus spinning tops. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
Well, I remember making presentations for Beat-em-on and trying to push the Beyblade connection, and I'd show it to management, and the people in the room, they'd look at me like, yeah, okay, we kind of see what you're saying, but it's not the same. It's not as good. I would not get as much enthusiasm with my development of that segment.
which actually reminds me of
Because I
something.
remember I think in some of the Magna Core toys, like in the boxes, there'd be a little leaflet about Beyblade. I was like, what is this? What is Beyblade? Yeah, I was
you
like,
mean in the Beat-em-on packaging or the Beyblade packaging?
No, in the Beyblade
in
packaging.
the Beyblade pack.
Yeah, it was like all over.
Yeah, that was again
Marketing.
an attempt to ride on the sort of the Beyblade popularity and drive another battling experience. They knew that there were more tops being sold than Beat-em-on.
Oh yeah. Tell me something, Steve. I don't want to divulge too far away from Beyblade because that's kind of the main topic of this. But I do have a question about a different product that these three only know because I told them about it. But it's something that I actually grew up with and I've always enjoyed. And I actually do still have about three toys of it. Do you know what mini four-wheel drives are? Maybe let me bring up an image to see if that can refresh your memory.
I don't.
These were also sold by Hasbro. They were like these little cars that had wheels on the side. And they had an anime that also went along with it. Any of this ring a bell?
I don't really remember these.
The anime was called Bakuso Kyodai. Let's it go. There you go.
Now were these in the UK? Were these prominently in the UK? Maybe.
Well, I'm from Portugal, and these were here over here, so they were all over the world. And there is a Hasbro and Takara. I think it wasn't Takara. It was Tamiya actually.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. It was Tamiya that released the toys. If I'm not mistaken. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, Tamiya.com. So yeah, I'm guessing Tamiya at the time was also a competitor to Takara. So.
Well, they eventually, obviously, they bought them. So.
Oh really?
Takara Tomy is now they're combined right now.
Oh, I know they bought Tomy, hence the name Takara Tomy. I didn't know they bought Tommy as well.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. I thought they did.
I mean, mind you, I'm not a guru in like what company owns what. Hell, I didn't even care that much about this. I was just But yeah, as you can see here.
A lot. Maybe I might be completely wrong about that. So.
But yeah, as you can see right here, as it stated, by the two founders, many other companies have entered into the mini four-wheel drive market, including Tokyo Marui, which I thought only did airsoft. I don't know why they did this, but and Hasbro.
There you go. Well, what I can say about that is I think there was a big development office in London that I used to work at periodically, a Hasbro office, and they were in charge of development for European markets. So it's very possible that they developed this, produced this, and it was sold only in Europe. Because I don't recognize these at all.
It could be another brand that did it. Because the thing about the difference between the ones that were being sold here and the Japanese ones, that the ones that we got were very big compared to the actual. Like these are a little bit bigger than the palm of your hand, or like your whole hand. But the big ones, the ones we got over here, they were like you couldn't wrap your whole like hand around it. So
they look cool. I mean, I like the look of them a lot.
The anime,
I've never seen them before.
Yeah, they're actually pretty good. It's an old show. Like the show aired in like the 90s, give or take. Let me just confirm. Bakuso. No, that's Bakuten. So not to be confused with Beyblade.
Right.
Which 153 episodes for the first season. There's 5 seasons. I don't remember, but yeah, there you go. July 1994.
Okay.
So it is an old, as you can tell by the art style. It's an old boy.
It's old, yeah.
That's the old generation. That's like Sailor Moon levels of.
Wow, that does go back.
But yeah, okay. But if you didn't know, it's okay. I was just asking out of curiosity because you also, as you stated, you also worked on not Bakugan, B-Daman.
B-Daman.
Bakugan and B-Daman sound so close. Jesus. I'm guessing you also worked on Bakugan.
That was a different toy company, I believe.
Yeah, Bakugan was a different company. Yeah.
Oh wait, so do you only have partners with? Were you only partners with Hasbro at the time?
Yeah, Takara Tomy was Hasbro's main.
Oh yeah, sorry. With Takara Tomy, my apologies.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, that explains. Oh yeah, okay, all right, okay, that explains. Yeah.
So was that like the toy Beyblade design from how the Bays are actually going to look and all the way to the? Well, basically, what I'm saying is, like, is there only like one person that made the design for whatever top that's going to appear in the show, or was it going to just done by a whole team?
That's a good question. The Japanese way they would develop was they had model makers, and then they had engineers that would work together, and they would make a whole bunch of different tops, and then they would pick out the ones that they would basically refine these over and over, and then the ones that they thought were the best performing, they would then give these designs to the anime or the manga people, and they would put them into the manga. And then they would make the anime from the manga. So it was. It started with the top designer at Takara, and it went from there. And then we would never really be involved until the tops were basically released in the Japanese market, and then they'd sometimes give us a preview. But as far as the design of each top, rarely did I have much input into how they were made. That wouldn't happen until later on when we started doing our own versions of tops in like 2011 or 12.
Well,
we were doing the
follow-up question.
top system.
Yeah, well, follow-up question. What are from the plastic generation? What plastic are they actually made of from? Like, is it like a strong plastic, like something like near?
It's ABS. They're all made
Yeah.
of ABS. That's
That's correct. They're all ABS. Yes.
the most easiest question in the world, Dragon. You can literally look in the back of the packaging. It says. And as for the metal, I believe it was an alloy of. I don't remember. Damn it.
I thought it was polycarbonate or something. That's why I always thought.
Poly, who's now? Nah, it's ABS.
ABS is a great plastic because it molds really high quality, holds great detail. You can paint it.
Flexible.
And it's strong. Yeah. Propylene would be a cheap version that they would try to use. I think they even looked at doing it in propylene, but it's softer and it's got that waxy feel. You can't paint it, so they never use propylene.
Oh, that might be what the fake ones are made of, because I know a lot of fake ones that looked like that when I was a kid. I grew up in a... Oh, sorry. Yeah, I grew up in a poor family, so a lot of things I got were counterfeit, if you will. The bootlegs, as we call them.
I used to buy those in Hong Kong. We would buy the knockoffs, and just to compare them, and there were sometimes it's cool to see what they've done with it, and I try to appreciate that somebody developed, even though it's a knockoff and it's kind of illegal. But
borderline breaking the law. But actually, that is a perfect segue to what I wanted to ask you. I have two follow-up questions that I will hope that my friends over here allow me to follow up continuously. So the first question is more regarding law. So regarding the whole thing. So Takara and Hasbro own the names, right? Because otherwise the the knockoffs couldn't even look like the original Beyblades, because they'd be sued out of this world.
Yeah, they would have to clear a name through copyright to get a name of any toy. Really, you have to clear the name, or you can't sell it. So,
okay, I see.
So Hasbro would go through a process where they would sometimes they'd have to change the names, because while it was a name you could use in Japan, it's not a name you could use in the rest of the world.
That's still being done. That's still been, like, names like Bloody Longinus have been changed to Brutal Luinor, because Longinus is a biblical figure. Actually, most names of the new generation, which I don't know if you know, but there was a new generation. It ended last year, like the end of last year, was Burst. I don't know if you are familiar with it.
Burst, I actually was somewhat involved at the beginning of Burst before I left Hasbro, and I just thought,
so you're not the reason why the Beyblades look the way they do. Okay, good, good.
I developed a Burst Beyblade when we were working on the second generation.
What was it?
12, and I mean these things exploded like
easily,
and it was like, okay, that's just, we couldn't figure out how to make them safe at the time. But Beyblade was doing so great, we didn't feel like it was necessary. But I think they went back to that concept years later and made it into the Burst line.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's pretty much how Burst was. But yes. So, so the way the whole copyright system works is that if somebody tries to sell something under a copyrighted name, so for example, imagine one of those knockoffs you bought, imagine they were selling it as the actual names of the Beyblades, like Dragoon or Dracil or stuff like that. If that was the case, then yeah, they would be sued, because that is like straight up illegal. It's not bordering illegal, it is straight up illegal, right?
Well, I'm not an expert on,
yeah, I imagine so. I just wanted an idea.
But I believe it was more of a concern in the reason you would clear a name is so that when you put out a product and you're a legitimate company and you put out a Beyblade, you don't want it to infringe on the name of another toy that, say, for example, like Mattel was making something and had a similar name. Or it's like you see when it says like Marvel's, whatever the character is, that character appears in other properties. So if you call it Marvel's, whoever, then you're covered because the name Marvel's there. So it's more about protecting yourself against getting sued versus suing other people, because ultimately they're making a knockoff product to begin with, and So the product itself is already a
Okay.
infringement. So that I don't think they'd even care what the name was. I think often I don't know if it's deliberate or they change the name slightly to make it look like it's a different brand, that it's compatible, or I don't know what the reason is, but the knockoff names are always a little bit wrong.
Yeah, they're always a little interesting. But Hasbro was okay because they had a direct partnership with Takara, which meant they can use the names unless it's like something profane or something like that, right?
Right. And then I remember changing names mostly if the name didn't clear, then we'd have to change it. And then also if we didn't like the name for whatever reason, if it was a name that was profane or insulted people or just wasn't a good marketing message, they would try to modify those names.
I actually have a question about that too.
Yeah.
How come like majority of, well, not majority, but like most of the or I guess I would say some of the Beyblade names were changed, like from Venus, Poseidon, and Ariel to Capricorn Strike G, Venusian, and Ocean Wrath. Why the change?
Can I before you say, Steve? Can I try and guess?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm guessing it's to do with religions and stuff along those lines, and like cultured figures.
Zeus was kept.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the case of Venus, I'm sure somebody in marketing thought that is a girl's,
Oh, I see. Okay.
A feminine. Anything that was perceived as too feminine, they would not market.
Went to the chopping block. Okay.
So that's Venus. As far as the other ones you mentioned, it could have been something with the naming. The name didn't clear, or
okay.
I can't really say because I don't remember those specifics. But the Venus name jumps out at me is like that. I bet somebody in marketing said, "No, let's make that a little more masculine sounding."
Ariel could have been because Ariel was a like goat, or in this case a Capricorn. So they thought, why is this named Ariel? It has nothing to do like there's no like even religious or not religious, but there's no like mythology about a goat named Ariel. So we might just strike it to like strike Capricorn G. The G probably came from it being an engine gear Beyblade, which it wasn't an engine gear, but it came in the same thing. And strike is probably because it was like boy, strike. Oh, it sounds cool. Strike, strike Capricorn. Something like, I imagine at least.
And I think as far as the names go, they would try to be consistent. If they were all names based on a certain pantheon of deities or whatever, or if it was names based on astrological signs, you'd want it to be consistent.
It's a shame they changed that for Burst.
Yeah. So, it just doesn't always work out. There's always any number of weird reasons why things get changed, and it might surprise you. Just like somebody might have owned something for Capricorn that they wouldn't let them use it, or I don't know. The name clearing stuff is crazy sometimes because you end up with a weird name that it's like the only thing you could find that.
It's like choosing your name on like an online game or whatever because everything you try and choose is already taken, so you have to come up with the most bizarre.
That's unique.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, you know what? My analogy was pretty good. I'm pretty chuffed with that one.
So they basically kept most of the names for the show, but when it comes to the actual toy line, they have to change it. So my question is, you got Beyblades like Zeus, literally Zeus, the god of thunder, but not Poseidon, like the god of water. Why not change it to like I don't know Neptune or something instead of Ocean Wrath?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, he doesn't know. Keep in mind that.
There could be any number of reasons why names change with regard to that. Like Neptune might have been another property that somebody owned that name in one toy. Like they're very conservative with that. If there's any possible overlap, the legal team would not let you use that name. So
but they use
I don't know specifics on each of those, but the name it can be tedious sometimes. You have to come up with 10 new names.
Oh yeah.
Get them clear.
Believe me, I know, and we'll get to that. But the other follow-up question that I had, because remember I said I had two, but before I was so rudely interrupted, Wolf. was what's your thoughts on 3D printing, and namely 3D printing spinning tops?
My initial thought is that I like the idea of it because it, like I said before, with whenever there's enthusiasm about anything that's a good thing. And so 3D printing, if that leads to more people getting into it and it expanding as far as popularity, that's great. My main concern with 3D printing is the quality and if it's safe, because it matters.
No,
that's probably my biggest issue.
Well, that's debatable, but I mean, with 3D printing, kids don't usually have 3D printers, and if there's a kid out there that owns a 3D printer, well, his parents probably either really trust him or, but that's not. You know what? That's not the point here. But it's good to hear that you like. There are a lot of people out there actually doing 3D printed Beyblades, but what confuzzles me is that they use the actual name, and I've seen some people, and Wolf has proof of this because he has actually purchased a few, that in the box is the actual Beyblade logo. Like, he purchased from some people, and they did like a box, and there is the actual Beyblade logo, and it says Beyblade like somebody ripped a PNG out of Google. And put it there. And how would like Hasbro and Takara deal with it? I mean, again, I know you're not a lawyer, mind you, nor are you like from what you said, you're not like an expert on laws or anything like that. But from the little that you do know, or from what you do know, how would like Takara react to it? Because I'm surprised they haven't done anything with the Beyblade mark. Because there's a lot of people selling it by the names that should be, in theory, copyrighted, especially the Beyblade logo, which I assume most people should not be able to use freely because it's, I can imagine it's not, a free, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's not like public domain.
Exactly, it's not public domain. It's a restricted thing.
Right. Well, I know that it was a concern, and it's really with any brand. I mean, you can even look at a brand like Star Wars or something. There's knockoffs everywhere, all the time. In fact, even the people from Lucasfilm would go out and buy the knockoffs and put them in their office and compare, because it was kind of funny. Because it just shows that the brand is popular and people are into it. But I know that they would, if there was ever a huge influx of counterfeit product and it was causing problems as far as safety, or if it was causing problems as far as sales, they would, I'm sure they'd be interested in try to stop it. But it's just hard to. I mean, you can't really police that all over the world, and the knockoff things are so nimble and quick, and you don't know really where they come from. So the energy to go after those people, it would take a lot of energy, and it may not be worth the effort.
Okay.
And again, that's my guess, because like I said, that wasn't really my job. But I think if it were a big company doing it, they would absolutely go after them. But if it's these little,
like Disney, for example,
if say somebody in the factory is running extra parts and shipping them out the back door, I don't know. I don't even know how.
That has been a concern. People as well taking like pictures and stuff like that of products that aren't for sale. But again, that's a different topic. But okay, that's interesting too.
Yeah, I think, like I said, if it was if they could target a big company that was doing it, I'm sure they would. But it's hard to go after little guys.
So it's funny you should mention that, because you see, and it's funny that you think that it's cool that people do 3D printing. Because what we've been keeping from you is that I do 3D models and I 3D print.
Oh, do you?
But mind you, I don't do Beyblades because, as we all know, Takara and Hasbro own the Beyblade name. I do not. Mine are called Battle Blades. It's the little things that I have made, and though they are inspired by. By Beyblades. They are not Beyblades in any legal way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have made a few that are inspired by the ones that were never released from the anime.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
If you want, I can show you a few. I'm not trying to sell you anything, by the way. I'm just showing.
No, I'd love to see it. Yeah, I think that's awesome.
So, if we go over here, and I'll give you a quick tour. my apologies for the mess. One good example of one that I have been doing over here is Queen Thea. And this is inspired by a Beyblade that appeared in the second season of Beyblade, but never actually was released as a toy.
Wow, it looks so familiar too.
Name Grim.
Pardon?
Say the name. Say the actual name. What it's based off on.
So the one I'm basing it off is called Gabriel. Here is some images of it. Now this Beyblade almost killed me because as you might see, there's not a lot of reference pictures. These are all the reference pictures that exist of it. So I had to get a little creative with some measurements and stuff like that. But yeah.
That looks great.
And
I made quite a lot of them, mind you.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, it looks just like I would never know the difference if.
But it actually looks like.
Yeah.
So far, I've been told that I'm the closest one that, in terms of quality, in terms of price as well. Some people sell it for an extreme amount of price because they try to capitalize on the fact that some people sell it.
Sure.
The original one for way too much. I mean, I'm not gonna go on Sketchfab because I don't want to, mess with anybody in particular. But there's certainly a lot of people selling it there. But I would sell these for free if I could. But they take so many resources to R&D it that it's not viable.
Well, I think that's great. I mean.
That's sort of my inspiration.
It makes it more popular. Like you just have a love for it, and I think that's awesome. Because, how can you fault somebody for having a passion for something and building on it? So that's very cool.
That is true, and thank you, by the way, for your kind words. They are much appreciated. I was a little scared of showing you because you might not have liked it, but I'm glad you're cool with it.
No, I mean, like I said, that looks just like a 3D file that I would have gotten from Takara.
So you guys also got like 3D files. Okay, I see. And then it was just injection molding, I'm guessing. I'm guessing you also can't say too much about the processes, I imagine, on how.
Well, the process is no secret. It's it's just injection molded tools, like you say, and by the time I saw it, the tools had already been cut, so it's not like like I said, I had any influence over how they made them, unless they had to be modified. Then they do duplicate tooling.
Yeah, they sometimes there are some differences in terms of molding from Hasbro to Takara. Like some of the Hasbro Beyblades we can see are more reinforced, so they break less often. They are made with stronger plastics. There is a singular Beyblade that is from Takara that is made with a plastic so brittle that if you sneeze on it, it will explode.
Oh, jeez.
And it's called Ariel, which funnily enough is the one we were talking about the name not too long ago.
Yeah,
exactly. That Beyblade suffers from what is called, and you as someone who worked on Transformers as well probably heard this expression, it's called gold plastic syndrome.
Yeah,
Yeah, so Takara decided, hey, let's make a toy that gets hit very often at very high G's, and let's make it out of the most brittlest plastic possible. What could go wrong? Hell, the Beyblade breaks just assembling it.
Yes, even.
Yeah. Well, whenever you put metallic, you introduce a metallic element to the plastic, it makes it more brittle. So.
And his is surprisingly intact. Yeah, that's a Beyblade cannot be battled because it will, good lord, it will not survive.
Wow.
Although the Hasbro version is slightly better than this.
One at a time, please. One at a time. Wolf, you were first.
Okay. So as I was saying, although the Hasbro version of Ariel 2 is slightly better, Capricorn Strike G, it still has some of its problems from the Takara version.
Wait, it does? I thought. I mean, it doesn't break anymore, does it? I don't have one.
It doesn't completely break as compared to the Takara version.
But the actual design itself is not great, is what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, and also assembling it from like new in box is a pain in the butt. Like if you saw Box Off 93's video, yeah, it's not really that stable.
By the way, the Box of 93, the person we're mentioning, he's a YouTuber who unfortunately no longer uploads. I don't know if he's dead or anything, but it's a shame because his videos were actually pretty interesting. But he pretty much he unboxed all Beyblades, right, Cap? I think we can confirm that pretty much he unboxed all Hasbro and if not all, then almost all.
He did more Takara, but he did a few Hasbro bays as well.
Yeah, because he did
Hasbro and StoneCon, I believe so.
Yeah, so he is known. He and a few other YouTubers are known. Like these are like legacy YouTubers. These are YouTubers who no longer upload. But yeah, I also have a YouTube channel, by the way. A quick promotion. Actually, all three of us over here have YouTube channels. Caps is dead. Wolf is going good. He is the most famous out of all of us. And Dragoon and I haven't uploaded because of personal reasons. So that's the current status.
We'll have to check out all of you guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, like he said, Grim do 3D prints. I mostly kind of review his 3D prints.
It was actually because of Dragoon that I started 3D modeling, because he was buying like 3D models from other people, and the 3D models weren't that good quality, and he was paying a ridiculous amount of money, and he was my friend because he helped me out a lot because he gave me my favorite Beyblade for free the first time we met. So by definition, we became friends that day. And yeah, I was like, you know what, let me give a crack at it, and here we are now. And now I'm miserable in that inside because R&D sucks.
Yeah, it's true.
Steve, was there ever kind of any or models that were in the show or like didn't make it to the stores that you saw? You're like, oh, I really wish that was made.
I think he's referring to prototypes of Beyblades that never actually went through.
Yeah, or from the show or anything.
Nothing comes to mind as far as Beyblades themselves. There were any number of like launchers or stadiums or other things that we tried to make.
Fucking Crusher's launcher was.
Yeah,
That was gonna be.
We would buy like the little miniature skateboard ramps and things, and try to put tops in there and bowls and different things. But
So pretty much throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, right?
oh yeah, well it was like, what's a new way to get these tops to react and move, and is there a new surface we could play on? And but Takara was pretty consistent with what they built, and we generally brought new play areas to the table, but they for the most part we stuck with that sort of vacuum formed plastic bowl. We could never really get out of that because that worked the best.
It's funny that you mentioned vacuum forming, sorry.
Yeah.
Because though I do 3D modeling, 3D printing, our good friend Dragoon over here wants to do vacuum forming. So how about you tell us your experience with vacuum forming, Dragoon?
Well, basically, with my experience with vacuum forming, I was inspired by another guy on the internet that was selling Beyblade stadiums. Because currently, with the Beyblade Burst line, he was selling those Beyblade Burst anime base stadiums. So I got inspired by him to try. I have my luck to do the same thing, but I have a more simpler design. Like here, if I can show you a little prototype right here about a stadium I do vacuum form is finally completed.
Nice glove.
Okay.
The big problem is I have been having trouble getting my vacuum former to actually be stable. And it also, I also have a question. How come most of the Hasbro stadiums never have a secondary tornado ridge like Takara Tomy stadiums?
I don't know if he's the most appropriate person to ask that, but do you know anything about that? Do you know what a tornado ridge is, Steve?
I'm trying to remember.
It's the little ridge right there that Dragoon is pointing to. So, if you want, would you like me to bring up the 3D model so I can highlight what he? Oh, there you go. It's that part that the Bay is currently grinding on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it mostly keeps the bait inside, but there's lots of them have 2 ridges to actually keep the bays inside, making it harder to actually knock out. But they usually just grind around on it so it can actually stay in the stadium, go in and out of the stadium.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of them had that, didn't they? I'm trying to remember which ones specifically. Wasn't the Super Vortex Battle Stadium? Didn't that have a double ridge?
Yeah, but I'm talking about mostly of the plastic generation, actually.
Yeah. Well, all I can tell you is that the stadiums were always designed for best action and within the safety standards. So if there was ever a reason that the tops would jump out, that would be a feature that they'd have to adjust. So I can't imagine that would make them jump out though. But,
No, quite the contrary. That's why that makes it so they don't jump out. But actually, Dragon, tell me, what is the secondary one that you're talking about? Is it the inner or the outer?
Well, actually, most of them just needed one, but I guess I was talking about the outer, but I'm mostly talking about the inner one because most of the Hasbro stadiums were just missing at least one tornado ridge to keep the battle going, because most of them was just kind of like the plain bowl design and then just pockets.
I think from what Steve has told us, if I may, Steve, guess. I believe the reason is the tornado ridges are used so attack types, so the ones that hit hard, they can gain speed there because of centrifugal forces and Newton's law and all that. They go and they spin faster, and sometimes they can cause them to go out of control, which could lead to them like jumping out of the stadium.
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility, but the sort of the ironic thing is that whenever Hasbro would try to design stadiums, they would try to have maximum contact between tops, so which obviously could lead to more tops being flown out or jumping out of the stadium. But they always wanted the top to hit so that it would be good for action, for commercials, for advertising, for tournaments. Versus, nobody really liked when you had two sort of defensive tops just sitting there trying to outspin each other and not touching.
Oh, when it was MFB, good lord, some battles were just so boring. Oh, Jesus.
So, you'd never advertise it that way, but
you could go make a sandwich and come back.
Yeah.
They still be like just standing there looking at each other.
So you'd want them to hit each other, knock each other out, but not knock each other literally out of the stadium. So that was the fine line they have tried to walk. As far as the ridges go, I'm not sure why there would be one ridge or two ridges or no ridges.
Did you see the stadium that Takara made, the Tower Stadium?
I don't think I have.
Let me go look it up and bring up the image.
Sure.
I'm the go looked up guy.
They made it, I think, in the anime as well.
Blade Twin
was that?
Tower. Wait, do I want to finish the? Wait, is it called Twin Tower Stadium? Secondly,
Tower Stadium.
Okay.
Tower.
Okay. Let's not bring up some bad memories. There you go. And it's not the burst one, right? It's Plastic Gen.
Yeah.
Yeah, plastic.
Bakuten.
Bakuten, yeah.
Do you know the code? The B0 code?
No, I don't know off the top of my head.
Let me go with Beyblade Stadium Bakuten. Let's see if there's a list of them. AliExpress, of course. Of course, that's the first result. Let's see. What if I put all Beyblade stadiums? There you go, stadiums. This isn't for. I hope not. No, that's MFB there. So okay.
No, there's a list there.
So it was called the Tower State. Oh, look, I have this one. Never mind. I didn't have that one. No, never mind. I'm confusing it. Tower, triple, no. Ultimate Beta Stadium. What the? Okay. Hades Gates, the Glitter Dome. Isn't that from? Oh,
That's from-
I remember that. Ah, the Glitter Dome. Were you guys responsible for Brad Best and AJ? What's his name again?
Topper.
Topper. Yeah, there you go. For some reason, I remember Far Cry 4's main character. He's called AJ Golly. So, never mind. But yeah, were you guys and Izzy as well? Because there were characters added to the English dub of Beyblade that were not present in the original version. So were you guys also? Because you mentioned as well, like changing things in the show, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so do you know whose idea it was to add those like 3 new characters?
No, actually, the only reason that there would changes would be made from Hasbro's perspective if, like I said, there was anything that they found could be considered offensive or anything like that. Otherwise, it was Nelvana's sort of business to just adapt the show the best way they saw fit to fit their markets. So,
Okay. Okay.
seems unusual. I don't know why they would do that.
Music. To Plastic Generation have epic music. A Metal Fight did not actually have music, but the commercials were.
Oh, the commercials were dope.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Why?
Current, the Beyblade Burst anime for with Hasbro dub, some of the openings are bangers, but the rest of them is just very mid to not so great.
Again, Jacob, you gotta understand this is all marketing. He's speaking of a specific. Okay, can I show you this? Is it okay if I show you this? I don't know if you care or not. I wanted to show you just a few samples of the Beyblade openings. I'm not gonna show you everything because we all got better things to do. But I'll explain to you what he's referring to. So if I go to and don't mind.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and don't mind the thumbnails. I am a very diverse person, so. Let's see. So we go. So you remember the original one, right? So let me pull it up. Beyblade. Let's Beyblade. Let me put OP.
Or Dame.
Nah, OP it works. So you've heard this before, right? So let me play it a little bit. Alright, you know this one, right? I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Yeah, we would play that music in presentations. Yeah, I heard it all.
Wow. And then came MFP, which was this.
Oh, yeah.
As you can see, maybe it's a little cringe, but as you can see, there's a sort of,
Oh, I love it.
a little adrenaline to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we go on to Burst. Now Burst, it's interesting. So this is season 1's opening. And it's not bad. I actually really like it. It has a different vibe. It's more sort of whoa kind of thing, but I think it's still pretty good. So I'm gonna play a little bit of it. As you can see, it's more of this kind of thing.
Techno
Again,
vibe.
yeah, but it's still, I would say it's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen Burst, so that was.
Oh, here are all the full theme songs. There you go. So yeah, that's that. Then we go on to season 2, which this person did not put the
Timestamps.
yeah. Okay, maybe I'll just do it myself.
The side songs.
I'll just do it myself. Otherwise, it's gonna be two thing. Evolution,
Yeah.
right? Evolution.
All right.
Evolution. There you go. No, not episode. Theme. Let's go with theme. You're right, Jacob. All right. So this is Evolution. Evolution is actually pretty good. It's more familiar.
Right, I've found the Tower Stadium fine.
Oh, let's go check it out. That really quickly. Oh my God! What is that?
Oh, that stadium, yeah.
Oh,
Shout out
wow.
to Keyblader 007, by the way.
Cool vid.
15 years ago. My God, I'm old. Some generic ass song in the background. But yeah, what did you want to ask about this Cap, about the stadium? Because there was a reason.
have seen it or heard of it or what you thought of it.
There were at one point in time we developed I can't remember who built this thing, but I said, what if we did like 4 or 5 levels, like
Oh my god.
and they'd battle, they'd basically fight, and they'd drop down to the next level and keep battling. They keep dropping down through different holes.
Eventually, they did do that with Burst.
For
This
Burst,
one.
yeah.
So that was the stadium, was sort of the logical progression of that concept that was years and years ago.
Yeah, I actually have a question regarding stadiums. How come like stadiums like the magnetic stadium? Like I know you guys made like a kind of dish for the magnetic stadium, as well as the ultimate stadium. How come those were never made into Hasbro?
Oh, let's see. Well, Hasbro did a version of the Magnacore Stadium. They had a plate with it was you could put the surface. You basically rearrange the magnets and put the surface.
Yeah.
But that was the only one that came out.
By the way, Steve, can I just say how cool it is the fact that you actually know the names of all this stuff and you're just not a generic, person who worked at it but didn't care? That is actually really cool.
I mean, I think Magnacore was the name I came up with. I had a few names that got in there.
Oh, damn. All right, Magnacore isn't a Japanese thing, is it, Cap?
And all the names of the stadiums were actually one of my jobs. So, like the original stadiums, they had all those disaster, themes,
like the Blizzard Stadium and
the Blizzard
Vortex Stadium.
Yeah, that was all. Those are all my names.
Damn.
Wow.
And then we switched to naming
That is
them
very
after
interesting.
the tops. It became top themed names. And the stadium tried to like be specific to support or to be a benefit to that top, like home field advantage. That was the idea.
For King Stadium, stuff like that.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so the names. Again, that's why I know a little bit about the names too, because sometimes I had to come up with them and
You come up with the portable stadiums as well.
Which ones?
The portable stadiums.
Yes.
Portable ones where you have because they were small, but they're a really cool idea.
Yes, that was I've spent a lot of time on that. The Kerry K Stadium, I developed all the graphics for it and had
Damn.
the folding panels and I did so many color studies of different versions of it.
Keep in mind that though we might be quite silent, most of us are geeking out right now, so don't worry.
But I mean, I hadn't even thought about that stadium for years. It's cool that you guys know what it is, even because I spent a lot of
Blood, sweat, and tears.
That was my focus for many months. One year, I had to work on that thing.
Oh god! So you had to learn everything by yourself?
Well, like I said, I was the lead designer, and for some of the time, I was the only designer on it. There was occasionally 2 or 3 other guys that worked with me, and obviously all the people in Japan. So I'm not going to say it was all me.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I would send concepts over to the model makers in Japan, and they would work on it, and then we would meet. We probably met with them 4 times a year, 2 times over there, 2 times over here. And yeah, we would share models, and they were awesome partners to work with. I always loved working with them. But yeah, those stadiums, that was because that was not in their market. I spent a lot of my time doing stadiums, so I knew a lot about the names and about the shapes and styles, and we had to make sure the colors were different, but they were all cool, like aggressive boy themed colors. Again, so no pink stadiums out there.
And again, this is all a product of the time, because I'm sure that's not what the company wants anymore, or is too.
Well, I think they've grown past that a little bit, but I would be shocked if I ever saw a pink Beyblade Stadium, considering that it's primarily a boys' action property.
Yeah, but nowadays, companies have to be careful of that because people be wilding.
They never say that. They wouldn't say, "Oh, we're
Yeah, but
girl.
boys are okay with purple though.
Yep. There's a
Purple,
purple
though.
one or two. Yeah.
Yeah, there's still one. The Cyber still one, right?
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, back to the. Oh, sorry.
Got worried. Some people got worried when that purple one came out.
Jesus Christ.
And if I'm not mistaken, you also designed some of the Metal Fusion stadiums.
Yes.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
I freaking love the Pegasus Thunder Whip and Lion's Lair.
Well,
Yeah,
Dragon
that's all
one
that,
was
yeah.
by far my favorite.
Oh, but actually, there is two versions of the Lion's Lair Stadium. One is just like the Pegasus Thunder Whip, and the other one is basically
No ridges.
fine, but it's missing the tornado ridge.
This one right here.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm trying to remember. So sometimes we would deliberately, since the vacuum form tools are made out of wood, they are much cheaper than.
Wait, really?
steel. Yeah.
What?
Whoa.
Draco, you're on the same level. Come on, buddy, you just gotta push it.
They're often
You
made
got
out
no
of wood
excuse
or
now.
aluminum.
You got no excuse. Sorry.
Dude,
just-
how you make stadium molds out of wood? I don't even remotely know how to do that.
Well, I mean, this was 20 some years ago, so they're probably made out of some composite material now. But the point is that they were not expensive steel molds. They were cheap molds that you could make and you could modify. So you could do a run of, 10,000 or 20,000 stadiums on one mold, and then you could literally replace that mold with a similar mold and make a running change to it, and then that stadium would have, a secondary feature that you could sneak into the line plan.
So,
Right.
so Beyblades were injection molded and stadiums were vacuum formed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's neat. Okay, well, Draculum, now you have no excuse whatsoever. You gotta get your ass in gear and go make that shit work. And
It's hard to mold a stadium. I mean, you need a big vacuum form to make those things.
he's got a big vacuum form, kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, my adrenaline. I literally bought like some Bondo tools the other day for it to complete it. Oh my god. Woohoo, the adrenaline is getting to me.
And again, keep in mind that we're doing all of this not for profit or anything, because we'll never be able to compete like with any big companies. This is all to get people cool things to keep the sport alive.
Well, sure. I mean, that's like I said. I keep telling you guys that having a healthy fan base that's excited about whatever it is great, and it's important, and you have to encourage it. So I think a lot of companies have even come around to I've mentioned Star Wars a few times. Lucasfilm finally embraced the fans, and it just made it grow more and more. So you can't tamp down on people's enthusiasm. That's just not smart. You should nurture it.
Unlike Nintendo, that cancels every fan game that exists.
Well, maybe they're the exception to the rule. I don't know.
Well, I mean, again, we're not here to talk politics, nor should you talk about any companies, because you are responsible about your own company. And I will go about that because I am curious on what you do now and stuff like that. But just so we don't get too sidetracked again, let me show you what I meant about the whole themes.
Okay.
If nobody minds for right now. Anybody want to say anything else from a previous topic, or gonna take your silence? I gotta take your silence as a yes. So yeah, so this is the second season of Burst. So I'll let it play a little bit. I mean, from right there you can see it's like hyper. It's it's pumped. Pretty good,
It's
right?
very like classic Beyblade music.
Exactly. Might not be the rock. Oh, sorry. Might not be the rock and roll of previous, but yeah, you can see that there's something. What was the third season called? Turbo.
Turbo.
Yeah, Turbo is another one. This one was actually done by a YouTuber as well. The next one, the next one was also done by a YouTuber that does music. So that was pretty cool. But this one is also pretty cool. I'll let it play.
Sure.
This one got me hyped.
This is actually one of my favorites. As you can see, I would say, pretty good for a Beyblade opening.
Great, I love that.
Right, then we go on to Rise, which again, also really cool. This is also one of my favorites. I
This
believe,
one tops all Burst theme songs.
Yeah.
and this was done by Jonathan Young, who is a YouTuber. He's been a YouTuber for long. He does covers. He's done his own original music. But I'm gonna go play it again until like the chorus, so you have an idea. And it repeats again with more thing. But as you can see, pretty hype. I would say I like it pretty much. And then, and then we go on to they're laughing because they know what's coming. Then we go on to season 5, and I'll let you draw your own conclusions. You ready?
Okay, go for it.
We got the spin, spin, spin. Sun in my hands, ignite the fire. We got the win, win, win. Sparking it up, down to the wire. We got the spin, spin, spin. Here in our hands, we burning brighter. We got the win, win, win.
Now, I'm gonna stop it right here. Mind you, I'm not saying the song is bad or they was sang poorly. Oh, by the way, look at that. There's a defect right there. It's missing the thing to pull the ripcord. Huh. Yeah, you can see right there. Anyway, again, I'm not bashing the or whoever, but you can agree with me. Exactly. You can agree with me, I think, that and by the way, it doesn't it went suddenly in a different direction. That is right. That is a way of saying it. And I mean, I've shown this, like what I've showed you, I've shown a bunch of people who don't even care about Beyblade. And whenever they hear we got a spin, it's like, what? What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
How did we go?
Not like the other.
Exactly. And the last part is funny as all fuck.
Hands, we burning brighter. We got the win, win, win. We let it, so we let it. Rip, 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 rip. We let it. Rip, 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 rip. Beyblade, rip, rip, rip. Beyblade, rip, Beyblade, rip. Beyblade, burst. We let it. Rip, 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 rip. Beyblade, burst.
Again, I'm not saying the song is bad. It's actually, after rewatching it like 20 times to show people, it kind of got stuck in my head a little bit.
Yeah, that.
But it's so weird, and it's like if this was like the outro song or whatever, fine. But as an intro song, it's so peculiar.
This theme song had the same problem the Shogun Steel theme song had.
Oh yeah,
very rap, and it just did not fit the theme of the show.
I haven't even watched Quad Drive or Quad. What was the other one? Quad Strike and Quad Drive. I haven't even watched those ones. Hell, why don't we take a gander?
Their themes are better than Surge, but they're still not very good.
I mean, already I like it better than Surge, just by the guitar playing in the background. What are you talking about, bro? That's banging. What the fuck? That's way better than Surge. I've had probably like a motherfucker at this one. Nah. This is, I mean, again, the Surge song isn't bad. Don't think it's a good intro song for Beyblade, but what was the other song that was like the mid-roll that somebody made into the... Oh, Journey to Tomorrow. Yeah. There you go, never mind. I thought it was something else. But yeah, the first time I heard that shit, oh my god, I was like, I couldn't even... Was it you, Wolf, that showed me because Phantom...
Yeah, I showed you the Surge theme.
Oh my god, I was flabbergasted. I was like, Jesus, they can't be real. And I mean, this is just a stupid song. It doesn't even matter that much, but... Yeah, however, let's just say, not to get political or anything, but all of us taking a year, all four of us, you know, the ones that are quote-unquote interviewing you, can agree that Hasbro made some interesting changes to the Beyblades, and they kind of objectively got worse each season.
Yeah, I could see that.
So as I'm sure you know, because you did work on MFP, correct?
No.
No? Okay, never mind then. But with MFP, they already got some flack because the last season's Beyblades were missing a lot of gimmicks. They were very hollow, just overall very cheaply made. They look like knockoffs. And let's just say that it's the same here. Again, it's not your opinion, you know, or it's not your place to talk anything about the company. That's more on our side. But yeah,
Well, I mean, you guys are experts at it. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, most Beyblades these days, like from Burst, like the latest season, they don't have metal where they're supposed to. They don't have like stickers or paint or anything. They're all hollow. They're missing gimmicks, like core gimmicks of the Beyblades themselves, and they're
Basically,
like
they just look like McDonald's Happy Meal toys.
pretty much, yeah. Would you like me to give you an image to compare?
It was good till like after season 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
Until season 2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Steve, did you have anything to do with the Burger King toys?
Oh, that's a good question.
I
Or
was
the Kellogg's?
I was
cereal?
made aware of the Burger King toys, so I knew about them, and I believe we might have even tried to work with them to make sure that there wasn't, we didn't want the Burger King making toys that would overlap the toys that we were making. We wanted them to sort of complement each other. So
Mhm.
Okay.
that was the goal anyway. Ultimately, they had their they could do whatever they wanted, but we tried to make it work so that they weren't doing knockoffs of what we were doing.
So,
Oh,
sorry.
Kellogg's did some pieces as well, or
Oh, yeah.
so it was some cereal brand. I don't know if because they were actually fully compatible, regular plastic Beyblades. So I don't know if you worked with them as well.
Yeah, do
I
bring.
remember. I want to say I did, but I just there was a lot of I was probably doing about 200 views a year, so that I was trying to crank through a
Wow.
lot of material. So I'm trying to remember specifics on that, but they may have like submitted to us just as a courtesy, or we may have even brainstormed with them. I can't remember. That was a while ago.
oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Here's the good example. Oh, sweet Christ.
Yeah, I'll send you a better comparison, Grim.
Yeah, I'm just gonna show. So this is Takara Tomi's Savior Valkyrie. It is the 5th, 6th. I lost count, but it is one of the most recent evolutions of the Valkyrie line of Beyblades. As you can see here, this is it with all the stickers and stuff like that, right? It looks
good, yeah.
looks neato, yeah. Here's a CGI model, by the way. So as you can see, it is relatively close to the show, even though I will say, as a personal opinion, not Microsoft, sorry. Takara for some reason decided to use transparent plastic on a lot of things, as opposed to using opaque, which is what the show used, and is what Hasbro used for a lot of or not a lot, but it is what they used, but mainly for the first few generations of Burst, they were actually pretty good because they were more realistic and looked more like to the show. But again, side tangent, here's how it looks, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And here is Hasbro's Valtriac.
Yeah.
That's how it comes. No stickers, no nothing. That's all it comes with.
I've sent some more comparisons in the chat.
Yeah, so here we have this is Wizard Fafnir, exactly. So that's how it looks like, and this is how the Hasbro version looks like. Now you might say, why does the driver, which is what the tip is called, why does it look so bloated? And where's the green thing around here? And this part right here is rubber. Are these rubber as well? The answer is no. They removed the rubber for most of Beyblades. That, like, the main gimmick of them are rubber. They have rubber to, like, sort of spin steel. They removed, like I said, many gimmicks. So as you can see right here, and the drivers. Good lord, hold on. I need to say a prayer before I mention this.
Really start to lower in quality, like at the third season of MFB, and sell like better ones just for marketing. But it was very disappointing when they just hollowed up out of all the 4D Beyblades that given us.
Yeah, and like for Shogun Steel, they just stripped the entire stickers on the Warrior Wheel, and they just kept the Facebook sticker on there.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some comparisons. My apologies.
Yeah.
For example, as you can see, this one had a gimmick where one of the metal parts. So the metal parts came in twos now, and you can flip them upside down to give different performances. And it just fused the whole thing and made it hollow. So again, we're not asking you for opinions or anything like that. We're just talking to you about this.
Well, I mean, it's funny. Like whoever's, I don't know what they're doing at Hasbro and how they're.
Here's another example for Burst. This on the right is the card turn, and this is how the Hasbro version looks like.
Donald's toy.
Wow, look at that.
And mind you, Hasbro did release for MFP, they did re-release the Beyblades, and they have the gimmicks and stuff like that. It was fixed.
Yeah, for Beyblade Legends. However, those did not sell too well as well.
Because the damage was already kind of done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Do you guys know if Hasbro ever released like subsequent versions where they would gradually upgrade them over time?
no. Well, there's
Well,
this. Oh, sorry. Go on, Wolf.
No, I was gonna say that, but
Yeah, so there's this. So Hasbro, a couple years ago, for Burst released something called the Pro Series, where it's more faith. Supposedly, it's supposed to be competitive. It's how it's advertised. The combos they came with weren't the original combos from the anime or Takara. They were some like random combos that supposedly were competitive, even though they weren't. But as you can see, they already look pretty good, right? I mean, for example, take this one. As you can see, already kind of looks better than. There you go. Already looks better than some of the other offerings because these came with stickers and stuff like that. The problem is the plastic they used was more brittle. So I don't know if you know this about Burst, but Burst has teeth, which is how they lock. And because the plastic was brittle, the teeth would break off on this Pro version. And these are more expensive than the normal versions, by the way.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
Oh, that's surprising to me. And like I said, I don't know who's developing it now. I've been out of the company for about 5 years now, but it surprises me to if you eliminate something like a label sheet, that's not a big cost. It shouldn't be a cost reason because it's actually more cost effective to use labels than to paint something.
As you can see, you see this white mark right here.
Yeah,
that's a stress mark. That's what we call, a stress mark, and that's no bueno in this zone. The bays do look a little different, sometimes for the better because they're a little bit more saturated. For the Pro Series, and they have gotten better. Full disclosure, they have gone significantly better than they were originally. But this is still a thing. They are using it's been proven they are using cheaper plastic to make the Pro Series than compared to Takara. Like the hardness is different and everything. But yeah, sorry, you were saying?
Durable. No, I was just saying, obviously they're not as durable if they're getting fractures and.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Could say that again.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, you guys. Every time there's a difference between a Japanese top and a Western market top.
Mm-hmm.
All the fans jump on that, and they always show it. So it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that you guys notice these things. I mean, because it happens.
I know they're most likely fully aware of what's going on because like big YouTubers that they partner with and stuff like that, they like constantly talk about it unless they're being paid, obviously. But again, that's not the point here. They constantly talk about how bad it is, and they like should do tests to prove. Like, there's a YouTuber that pretty much reviews every bay that comes out as soon as possible, and he always does the teeth wear with Hasbro. Like he always like with Takara Tome, he doesn't really do it because obviously it's the originals. But with Hasbro, ever since like with the Pro Series, he always says it. It's like a feature of the video, like the test,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just sounds like an engineering problem where they should that should be correctable.
And again, these are being marketed as the competitive version, and this isn't something that people have taken from the title. In the description of like the website, it's stated that this is being the competitive like thing. And by the way, these if you look at the most recent image that Wolf posted, you'll see the Takara, the Hasbro, and the Pro Series Hasbro. None of these are compatible with each other officially. So Hasbro parts aren't compatible with Pro Series Hasbro, so you cannot mix and match like the two different things. You can't mix and match Takara and Hasbro in any way. Though you can like force it, but it's not it's not like in plastic John or even in MFP where you can very well do it. The locking mechanisms and stuff like that are the same. In this one, it is not. It's completely different mechanisms. Like Hasbro doesn't even have teeth; it slopes. So,
Right. Wow.
but yeah. So as you can see, things are a little bleak.
Yeah. I'm very surprised to hear that they're not cross compatible.
Nope.
Back in the plastic generation, basically there was some bays that were better than Takara Tomy itself because it wasn't released. But now the tables literally has been flipped. It's very bad how like lots of the bays are very fragile or the cheaper plastic that's being used. I mean, I don't know what's going on in Hasbro. I don't know if they're trying to save money when they know if they give a actual good product that more people would buy. So I have no idea what's going on over there.
And mind you, this isn't because of the current, sort of global crisis that's happening. This was all before even COVID. So,
Yeah. Okay.
so this has been going on for a while. And it's a little sad because again, as I stated, I live in Portugal. We don't get Takara Tomy products over here. We barely get Hasbro. By the time that the third season came, we still had like season 1 toys first. So, and the fact that we only get this, thankfully I've met wonderful people on the internet, like these free knuckleheads you see in this conversation. But also I met a good person in Japan who like he buys it for me and he sends it for me with no like additional costs. It's strictly as a friend, not like as a middleman service. Wonderful guy. He even buys like things from the used market for me because I also collect Transformers. Because you also stated you worked at Transformers. I really like Transformers. Even Transformers, by the way, I'm gonna go on a little side tangent here. Even Transformers have suffered massively, like incredibly so, as well. It wasn't just Beyblades. I think all products from Hasbro have been affected quite a bit. Like Transformers have become more hollow. Some of the designs are worse. The plastic, like if it's white, it yellows very easily, even if it's not exposed to sunlight. Breakages, bad engineering, just like a lot of bad things, basically. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go on that tangent.
No, well, I've heard that from, and I have friends through the industry, obviously, still, and at all the companies, Mattel, Spin, Hasbro, etc. And it's all the cost of plastic has gone up so much.
Oh yeah,
It poses a challenge for them, and how are they? You can't if you can't sell something for less than $20, you're in big trouble. So it's a challenge, and so I know they're trying to figure out how to deliver every toy designer wants to deliver the best product possible, but given the cost restraints, sometimes it's
oh yeah, obviously, like as you stated, especially with the current world situation, it is complicated selling prices or selling base at the price. But what baffles me is that the Takara toys, they have not changed whatsoever, like in terms of price or quality. If anything, Burst has been way more resilient than Plastic Gen. I think people who collect Burst, namely, well, technically all three of us collect Burst, but Cap kind of, or not Cap, sorry, God, he kind of stopped a little bit, but me, Dragoon, and Wolf will all still collect the most recent, like Takara Burst base. And in terms of quality, maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think there are any issues with them, right, guys?
Right. Not really much.
And they're the same price as they always been.
Yeah.
I would say
Exactly.
that doesn't surprise me in that I think the Japanese market is very specific, and they may not accept changes that they see, that you would consider
Okay.
Now I don't know that for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if the two markets are so different, in many different ways, and like the consumer just has a different perspective on what they expect, and how much they need to be explained to, and how they're able to follow the rules, etc. So it's a totally different market, and that may be one of the reasons why the quality is different.
Which also explains why, some changes have to be made and they have to be adapted to the Western market because, again, laws are different. By the way, I think it's funny. I thought this interview was gonna, or not, I thought this little. Is this a podcast? What is this anyway? Anyway, this little get together, if you will. I thought it was gonna be very quickly. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was just saying, Kai invited me, and I wasn't sure if we were doing a podcast or an interview or just chatting.
I think if it's a mixture of both.
Honestly, I don't fucking know. It's a get together, if you will. But I was expecting this to be like maybe an hour or so. We're almost on 2 hours. So maybe we should get wrapping up with the question.
I got. My question is, okay, you help with basically the engine gear of Beyblade J Revolution, right?
Yes.
All right. So my biggest question is, over time, lots of the engine gears will just flat out stop working. Like you can't wind them up anymore.
Right.
Or so the thing is there any way to actually fix an engine gear Beyblade, or is there any schematics someone can use to actually see what the component is inside to actually get it working again?
Keep in mind that, sorry, Steve, I need to hit him in the head a little bit. Keep in mind that I have disassembled an engine gear completely, like taken everything out, and I have transplanted parts from one engine gear to the other successfully. And I've explained to him there are some parts that it doesn't matter what you do, if it breaks, it is over. There's a little cog that is attached to the main shaft. It's a very tiny cog that cannot be removed, so you would have to switch the whole lower part. But if that gets dented or there's a crack, the engine gear is pretty much done. It will not release.
Just like in the shell, basically.
Kind of, yeah.
But yeah, the engine gear was always, expected to be or planned to be like a
finite thing.
The next generation, a high precision version of evolution of a Beyblade. And they did not it wasn't built in obsolescence where they'd break down after a certain amount of time. You'd have to buy more. It wasn't anything like that. I just think with anything like that, that's such.
It's very tiny and very
small, right? Yeah.
Exactly. No, I didn't mean it in a way that it was made to be. It's a tiny mechanism that is very finicky and very very delicate, and if one of the components goes off, the whole thing won't work.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I showed engine gear, I was so excited that they got it to work. First of all,
it is pretty cool.
I can't believe this actually works, because it's like I said, it's a micro engine. It's so tiny, and they were just so cool when we first debuted those things. But yeah, I'm not surprised that after X amount of spins, they break down, because that's just the nature of a spring. You notice when you sell toys that have launchers and things in action figure packages, you don't want to have the spring in tension. You want to have the spring at rest. Because if it's a package for years and you open it up, eventually the spring's not going to be as strong. So the spring should wear out over years. That said, though, I think I'm amazed they last as long as they do, because I'm not surprised that they break down. So.
Well, they aren't wound, nor are they supposed. Much like everything else, they're not supposed to be left wound. There is a resting point of it. If you click the button and let it spin fully, it will be resting, if you will. It will not be under tension. But yeah, it's a very fragile. Fun fact: I am actually doing right now. I am doing the bases of engine gears, and they are working. It activates the engine gear. I'm doing the clutches and everything like that.
You can take them apart and reassemble them, really?
Yep, and they are fully interchangeable with the original ones. But yeah, can you tell that I have a little bit of OCD?
I'm pretty impressed, I gotta tell you.
Actually, I want to show you something very quickly. I want to give you a little thing, if you don't mind, of course.
No, go ahead.
So basically, all I heard is not possible to fix a Beyblade engine gear.
Pretty much, yeah. I didn't think about how cool it would be if
what did kind of make you kind of leave Hasbro, and kind of can you tell us about what you're doing now as well?
Damn, I was gonna go to that. Goddamn you!
Sorry, what was that last bit?
What made you leave Hasbro? Because you said you haven't been there for about 5 years, and what are you doing now?
So now I have my own design company called Kid Lightning Design, and I basically
Let me bring it up.
I do freelance design for toy companies, and I do toy invention.
So what is it called? Sorry.
Kid Lightning Design.
Kid Lightning Design. Design system
And
or just design?
Design studio.
Oh, studio. Hold on. Studio. Why is it not showing up? Steve Bono. That's you, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, there you go.
So I do invention. So I work on stuff like new lightsabers and Spider-Man launchers and things like that, and I sell those to toy companies.
So wait a minute. Sorry. Sorry. My apologies. Go on. No, my apologies.
Yeah. I also do basically anything that revolves around intellectual property and children's entertainment. So I work with a couple of other of my friends that are former toy industry people that do. They develop stories for movies, stories for animated series.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So, and then we also review properties and give insights into whether they are what we call toyetic. So if you have a movie script that needs somebody with a toy background to look at it and see if there's has a toy potential or a licensing potential that you can make products from. We give input into things like that.
Wait, are there free? Wait, how many Steve? Okay, never mind. This is something else. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I thought
there's a quarterback from the NFL named Steve Bono as well. He retired years ago. That's another famous one.
And this. Okay. So these aren't people from your company. These are just other random people. Okay, never mind. I thought it should like people from your company. I don't know why it would show that, but LinkedIn is weird. What can I say?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last 4.5, something like that, years.
And you like it?
I get to work at home. I get to make my own hours. Work, play with my kids, coach soccer, all that kind of stuff. Which
that's
Hasbro
nice.
was a 5 hours commitment when I was at Hasbro. It was like a 50, 60, 70 hour a week type job. Plus you're working with people in Hong Kong, so you're always up at night doing emails and I loved it. So don't get me wrong. I think
it's a different experience. One that you've definitely favor more now than before.
Yeah. That's
okay,
true.
That's cool. So wait,
and I still have lots of friends there. So yeah, I still make do a lot of work with Hasbro on different things.
So hold on a minute. Sorry, I just had a bit of a brain blast. And by the way, my apologies if I have ever to interrupt you or something. It's not on purpose or to be rude or anything like that. It's just I can have a bad memory and I forget things.
No. That's no problem.
So you, sir, are a designer, right? You do sketches and you. So would it be possible? And mind you, I don't have much money now, but I could pay. I can save up and do it. Could you come up with a battle blade for me to turn into a free model?
I guess I could. Yeah.
Okay, that'd be neat.
It's been a few years since I've worked on Beyblade.
I mean, again, this is all like for fun and stuff like that. And I don't know how it works. I would pay you. I don't know how much it costs to do this. I've never done it. I mostly just do it myself. But I do want to learn how to be a designer and stuff like that. Mind you, all this 3D printing and designer, because I also make stickers and stuff like that. This is all self-taught. Well, not self-taught, but I majored in like restaurants. That's what I finished school with. On how to serve people and stuff like that. So, all passion. This is all passion.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're developing Beyblades in 3D and printing them and doing graphics, it sounds like you're already a designer. So.
Yeah, I mean, I have some things. I took inspiration of nothing. I just came up with them on myself. But for right now, as you know, all art begins with the art of imitation. So for right now, I'm inspiring myself on other projects that are similar to the things that I'm doing. But in the future, I definitely want to make like my own things. But I would love to make a model out of a sketch or something that you would do. That I think would be pretty cool. Maybe I can make that one free or whatever if you want. I don't know how we rock with it, but it's more again. Oh,
Let
sorry.
me look through my old. I'm gonna look through my old files because I probably have some sketches of.
It's
things
actually
that
funny you
might be-
mentioned about old files because if I go to my inspiration folder over here, this is a thing. Like I have OCD, so that's why there's folders on folders on folders. But for bursts, it was actually released like concept art of like evolutions that never panned out. So this is how the actual Beyblade turned out, and this was like how it was gonna be, and like all very detailed. And I have thought about, and I have talked to originally, I believe, the person who made these, if I can turn them into like 3D models and stuff like that. And they said that, yeah, sure, go for it. And yeah, it would be neat if we could do something like that. Again, this isn't for marketing or anything like that. If you want, I can make the models free. I just think it would be a cool like life experience too. You know, as somebody who loves Beyblades, you know.
Like I said, I might have some kind of develop like sketches of some concept tops or something that we never went with, but see if I have something.
That would be really cool. Come on, that was a pretty good idea on my side, right? Come on, somebody say something.
Yeah, it's about 20 years ago, so I'd have to look through some old files. But
yeah, no rush. Obviously, I don't want to take. I'm sure you're a busy guy. I'm sure you got other projects that people that are more important. But yeah, that would be really cool if I could. If we could work something out with this, because I mean, you are a quite prolific, even if you weren't the guy who made them, you are still a cog, if you will, on the whole like Beyblade community, and especially so on bringing it over to the Western market, which is where I'm from. I know I'm from Portugal. We don't get Japanese things over here, so that would be really cool as a sort of milestone.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, let's see what I can come up with.
All right, I'll let me send you a DM, just a little dot, just so you have me. And if you ever do want to go through it or whatever, I don't want to bother you with this, obviously. So I'll do it like that. Oh no,
I think
never mind.
it's really gratifying.
Oh, I can't do it. Never mind.
People liked what you did. The people were totally into the toys that you put out in the market or put out in the world.
I mean, mind you, I didn't start right now. I started a while ago, but due to issues with printers and stuff like that, 3D printing is very hard. I was only able to post something recently, and it got a good amount of traction because it was a product that some people wanted a lot. But definitely, it would be really cool, like making a Beyblade. Not a Beyblade, sorry, making a Battle Blade. I have dyslexia, so if I ever interchange the two, my apologies. But making a product, if you will, that was designed by somebody like you.
Yeah. Well, see what we come up with. That would be pretty neat, I think.
Hell, we could do it. We could do it three ways. Because you said you might have concept for the first generation, right? But not for the second.
Well, with the second generation, we got into a lot of sort of secondary things like I don't know if you were into Bay Wheels or any of those, or Bay Warriors.
Dragon knows what Bay Wheels are.
So we did. The idea was to like expand the brand into different directions, and if people are into Beyblade, then maybe they would like these other things. So they weren't as. I mean, it's hard to match how well Beyblades battle and work, and just the system is so perfect. So to come up with something else like the Bay Wheels never paid off.
No.
Thing. And we all knew that, but I just thought they were cool looking, and to try to get a battle system with two wheels is a lot.
Bay Warriors as well.
You need a Bay Warrior cyborg.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point I was getting. Oh, sorry.
The Bay Warriors, I thought if they had given more time to develop them, they might have become something better than what they were, but they didn't last very long. So
no,
there's a lot of effort went into like making those things work at all. They were challenging.
But what I was referring to was if you do have concepts as the first generation, we can go with that. But if you want to take a crack at it, and again, we don't need to do this like we're gonna start with the first generation, then you'll go from there. But if you want to take a crack at designing a Beyblade from each generation, I'd be willing to try and turn them into 3D models.
Yep. Well, like I said, I'll have to see what I have and what time I have. But if I have like some old concepts that never saw the light of day, I mean, no one would. It'd be pretty interesting to see what you'd come up with.
I can also make it. I've never done something like this before, but I would like to donate to a charity at some point. So if you want to go that route, we can also do it. Like
sure.
all the funds gained like from like these Beyblades will go straight to a charity, kind of thing. I don't know. We have to work it out. Again, that wasn't the point of this get together. It's just something that kind of appeared to me because if you are a designer, you know, that could be an interesting thing. Hell, maybe we can even get you some more work. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Well, like I said, let me take a look at what I've got. I've got to go through some old files, but yeah, maybe I'm trying to remember. We did a lot of top brainstorms, and there may be some interesting notes in there. Something I can.
Is it okay if I add you as a friend? I promise I won't bother you.
Oh, sure.
I'll go
I
send.
think we should all do that.
You don't know what you're in for now, Steve.
You have just signed a deal with the devil.
Why do I feel like I kind of am?
No turning back now. You kind of touched on it before, but like you said, you got to go to London and Japan. But when you were at Hasbro, did you like how much did you get to travel and go and see different markets and things like that?
That was one of the best parts of the job, actually. There was, like I said, there was an office in London near Heathrow, Stockley Park area, and I would go there probably quite once a year, but just about every other year I'd get to go there and spend some time with the designers there. Because I also worked on Action Man. So
The fuck is Action Man?
Action
Oh wait,
Man
I remember. No, I remember. I used to have some. I had one that had like a gun arm or something that when you press the button, it would raise up.
Yeah, there was Action Man was a big deal for a while.
Yeah, it had like an A, like an orange A, right?
Yeah,
the symbol.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember Action Man. Oh my god, I'm old. Holy fuck.
Great. So yeah, I remember whenever I go through Heathrow, if I told them, if they say, "What do you do?" and they'd say, "I work on toys, I work on Action Man," they would let me right through.
Not Beyblade, just Action Man.
Yeah. But as far as travel goes, I would go every year to San Diego Comic-Con and work in the Hasbro area for that, and that was awesome. I always loved doing that. We would go to New York all the time for Toy Fair. We would go to Hong Kong. There was a Hasbro office in Hong Kong, as well as several different factories in China that we would have to visit and work with those teams there. And then there would be licensor approval things, so I'd have to go to San Francisco to Skywalker Ranch for approvals for Star Wars stuff. I'd have to go to Warner Brothers for when I worked on Batman. So yeah, there's quite a bit of travel. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like you're going somewhere every week or every 2 or 3 times a month, but it was like 3 or 4 like really interesting things that you do every year. And
wait, do you like Batman, by the way?
Oh, Batman was my first love as a toy designer. It was my first job.
Have you seen the most recent movie with oh my god, what is it? Robert Pattinson. Yeah, the Batman.
Yeah,
bro,
I did.
What did you think?
I thought it was pretty cool. It was kind of like that version of Batman as a detective, as like
more detective than action hero, right?
Yeah, I
love that movie. I love that movie.
Yeah.
3 hours, more like 5 minutes for me. That shit that flew by. I loved it. I didn't even need to think because the cinema I went to did not have breaks for some reason. The movie, so it was like constant 3 hours. And to me, I didn't even need to go to the bathroom. I was just stuck to that movie, like everything from the soundtrack and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted out of curiosity. I love that movie.
Yeah, I liked it a lot, and I think DC and Warner Brothers doesn't know what they're doing with all their DC properties, but
same could be said about Marvel.
But at least what I
DC
like about Marvel is they had a plan and they executed the plan and it made sense. But I don't understand what.
And it keeps going.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I always thought Batman had the best potential for toys and was the coolest character. So I always loved doing that. I was the lead design for Batman in the animated series.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I did a lot of Batman toys in my
Yeah.
early.
This is really turning on its something. What?
I say, you're getting cooler by the second, right, Steve?
Sorry, what?
You're
I
getting.
say, you're getting cooler by the second,
Oh.
right?
Well, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, you got a fan base. If you didn't have a fan base before, you have one now.
Yeah. Yeah, I could. I have a lot of friends that are just based on Batman knowledge and the love of Batman. So,
What would you say?
actually, I was hired at it was Kenner at the time before it was Hasbro, and I was hired to do Batmobile pattern drawings for models for Batmobile. So that was my first job, and that's how I started in the industry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
So-
neat.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk we would be talking about Batman, considering we were talking about Beyblade?
Those are pretty great.
All of
That's
them.
the concept of Batman Beyblade.
I thought about that, but that's the topic for another time.
I do have concept sketches of Beyblades for Star Wars, Transformers.
I'm a 3D modeler. Just saying, we can work something out.
There was a Spider-Man top. There was a Optimus Prime. There was
Transformers is my favorite, definitely. I mean, I love Beyblade more than Transformers. Actually, I love all of them. You know what? If I had to describe myself, I collect collections. I don't just like one thing, and I don't like everything of that one thing. I like a bunch of things out of a lot of things. If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of collectors that do that. You collect all the stuff, all the coolest stuff from each property.
Exactly. That's kind of me. I wouldn't say it's the coolest. It's just whatever I like. I don't have all Beyblades, nor do I plan on having. Some of them I couldn't give less of a fuck. Same thing with Transformers. I don't collect, like, mostly the most recent ones I don't collect. I don't have too many Transformers. They're kind of expensive. But, yeah, I love Transformers as well.
Can get pricey. Oh, they're so big.
Oh my god. Well, they used to be. Now they shrunk quite a bit, unfortunately.
And speaking of Transformers,
The Rise of the Beast. Yeah.
David Hurst.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Oh
With
god.
the app, yeah.
I mean, Hello Kitty did as well. I don't know if you know that. Hello Kitty had a collab with Beyblade for Takara, and it was actually pretty good.
What?
Did they?
Oh, you didn't know?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go stream that really quickly.
I still have yet to get it.
I really want to get it. It's actually really fucking tough. Surprisingly, it's something I didn't find like stupid or anything. I thought it was like, why don't they do this more often? I would collect the shit out of that kind of stuff. Hello Kitty, not Hello Fresh. Hello Kitty. Beyblade.
Steve, whose idea was the Beyblade trading card game?
And here it is.
Beyblade trading card game. I think that originated with Takara.
Okay.
Here you go, Steve.
Oh wow!
So it is basically, this is building upon a Beyblade that already existed, which was
Is that real?
yeah. No, this is an actual product that exists.
Yeah, Takara actually released that.
This is a Takara only, by the way. What's the Spriggan called? I forgot. It's not Astral. There you go. So they basically took a Beyblade that already existed called Astral Spriggan, which is an evolution of a Beyblade, as you can see right here. And they recolored it a different color, and they added this part, which is kind of unique. It has the same gimmick as the original one, but it has this Hello Kitty thing. And this part is actually called I think it's called Hello Kitty. I think it's all this part. So this is technically called Astral Hello Kitty. This is the full.
Okay.
Yeah. If you switch this part out for something else, it could be something along the lines of what's a dumb name for Hello Kitty? For what the fuck is it called? BU. Oh, not BU, sorry. What is this called again? DB, there you go. Come on guys, I need your help with this.
I have
Let me check.
DB, did you say?
What is the Valkyrie called? It could be Savior Hello Kitty. It could be a bunch of things actually. Anyway, this kind of didn't go how I planned. But you can make some really funny names with it. But anyway, yeah, this is an actual official product by Takara. As you can see, this is the box.
I'm not sure why, but I think it's kind of awesome.
I actually really like it. And Hasbro did something similar, but theirs was exclusive only to the
WWE.
to the game. So they had these Transformer Beyblades from like the most recent show, but they didn't make toys out of it. They only made the app toys. So
okay, all right.
On to
Game models, yeah.
WE or something.
what now?
Didn't they say they're going to make a collab with WWE or something?
Randy
not too
Orton, an RKO from
Good.
nowhere.
That's a good idea. They should do that.
No, they said it was going to do it.
Oh well, they showed Beyblade Quad Drive on WWE for
Apparently,
some bizarre reason.
and apparently some WWE. Oh no, this is what the fuck? Why is the Beyblade here? There's no Beyblade here. There's only the Asylum set.
Ambrose Asylum Beyblade match.
Extreme Asylum Beyblade version.
Can you imagine if they made like a stadium that had cages as the borders? Oh, that'd be cool.
I think they made something like that for MFB. I'm not too sure though.
Man, I swear to God, they are sitting on a gold mine.
They're still going to release, what is it, the Beyblade live action film, aren't they, in a couple of
Oh
years?
no!
Oh my God, somebody made Shu as one of the characters. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's from the game.
Oh God, Lord, I'm dying inside. Sorry.
I actually forgot that they said there was supposed to be a live action Beyblade movie. I don't understand how's that even going to work.
God, I swear, if the CGI is shit, I can't.
I mean, like, here's the thing: Hollywood does not learn from their past mistakes with anime live action films. Because they already butchered so many of them already. So
Can you imagine if it was a Netflix one though? Oh God.
oh, that's even worse.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But I think actually for me, that's pretty much it. I don't think I have anything else to ask. What about you guys?
I mean, you say that unused concepts of Beyblades, right? Like, couldn't they use like some of them for the show, like mostly like for V-Force or something? Or
You mean for the show?
I mean, yeah, for the show, because you did mention a Spider-Man Beyblade. Well, there's already a Spider Beyblade in V, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the idea with this conference was to sort of cross brand. You could do a Star Wars segment, you could do a Transformers segment, a Marvel segment. So we had done sketches of what a Spider-Man top looked like, etc. So those were
Yeah, because there was like
cool. They were
for Spin Master, they did a cross promotion between Bakugan and Marvel.
yeah. Yeah, so it just makes sense. I mean,
They're very big brands that they can use to like piggyback off each other.
Right.
Marketing 101, really.
So
All
yeah,
right.
the only challenge is if there are two different licensors you have to combine, then it gets a little bit tricky about royalties and things like that.
always got paid them royalties.
True that.
What's your favorite Beyblade out of all the series?
If you have one, obviously.
I liked I like different aspects of each one, but the original one was so different to me that I still have a fondness for it. But I think as far as like the quality of the show, I think the Metal G was.
I think he was referring to like an actual Beyblade from the first series.
So yeah,
You know,
or any particular spinning top that you remember creating.
Okay. One of them that we thought was really cool around the office was the Cerberus.
Oh, Burning
Oh,
Cerberus. Oh, that one was
yeah.
pretty cool.
Like, and that one seemed to be like really powerful, and I just like the look of it. Cool.
It is a really cool looking Beyblade. It is. It's
So-
not my favorite. My favorite would be Dragoon GT, which I can bring up a picture really quickly. So it's where.
Yeah. Do y'all have like meetings on what type of Beyblade with your concept art supposed to be?
Here's the Beyblade, by the way.
No, it was less like meetings. So, like if I would show, I'd show the whole line of tops to management and things like that. If we had other meetings, like we'd have brainstorms about how to expand the brand different directions. But as far as production meetings and things, that would more be technical stuff with Takara and with engineering.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what I mean is, like, if someone comes up with a concept with a Beyblade and it's approved, do y'all discuss like what type it is? Is it a attack type, a combination?
Oh, right.
Stamina?
So no, that aspect of the development was in Japan. So they'd build their line of tops based on how many they need, so many different types, and then they would spread out the characters, and they'd make all that determination.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that was not something
That's
that we.
interesting.
Now we could say to them, like in the next wave, the attack tops were more popular. Can we have more, even though they weren't? But we could try to influence what types of offerings they would make. But ultimately, it came down to their market first, and what was successful in their market, and then we would copy what they did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Do
right.
you still have it, like, or for any that you made, or do you still play with any?
My son just got into it recently. He is 7.
Oh boy.
Okay.
And he just discovered it, so that's been
He's
surprising. 'Cause I didn't know if he would ever, he didn't like action figures, so I think it's cool that he at least likes Beyblades. So,
You have been restored as my son. You have earned the honor to be my son again.
actually, he was more into cars and vehicles than action figures, which was like, oh man, I have so
That's
many
a
action figures.
respectable. It's respectable.
But yeah, he just started getting into Beyblades, so we're gonna see where that goes.
Make sure you tell me not Hasbro.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very honest with you. I don't think he's gonna go out of the way to buy Japanese products on purpose. If his kid doesn't really care about quality and it's just about having fun.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, he's like, I don't think he cares right now, but we just started to open the door on that. So maybe for his birthday, we'll get a bunch of new tops and see what he does with them.
So
It's great. It's really fun to see like kids, any kids at all, not just your own, but any kids that like what you did or what you made. Like that's really why we do it.
I mean, and look at us, we're all big kids, so.
Yeah.
We're big boys, I swear.
Right.
we're adults. Come on. Okay, so I got this one last question. Or
Finally.
maybe, yeah,
Well, last question.
you all can roast me later about this
boy.
question. Okay, so basically, what in the upcoming month, basically Takara Tomy is about to release a new.
He doesn't know, nor if he knew he cannot say. You don't need to be a genius.
Wait,
Hey,
let's hear him out. Let's hear him out at least.
Alright, fine. I'll shut up. Go on. Come on.
Let's hear him out.
Okay, it's just they're about to release a new wave or a new generation, and if you had to guess, well, how about this? And not a guess, but if you could really say what they could do next, with the appropriate order, like with the plastic generation, then there is a metal fight, then there is burst. And in your opinion, what else could they do with Beyblade if they're going to make another?
Man. Wow. Man. Well, that's the real challenge. So that's what they work on every day. Is like, what's the next biggest best thing? It has to always get better. I was really surprised that they got burst to work because, like I said, the first model we made of exploding tops was so dangerous. I thought, well, that's never going to happen. So they figured that out, but I don't know. The one thing that they never got to work that we tried this so many different ways was Beyblade drones.
What the fuck?
Oh,
They were trying to make Beyblade drones that you would battle in the air, and they'd have
What?
they'd have sensors inside so they could tell when the other one was, and they'd collide in midair, and you try to knock one out of the sky. That was the thing that I thought was super cool. That someday maybe they'll figure that out, but
I don't think that's safe for children from America.
really.
I mean, considering Dragoon over here was already launching Beyblades in the air and having them land in their face. I don't know if that is the best. I don't know if that is the best.
I mean,
Hey, Beyblade drones come out. You guys heard it from me first.
Yeah, I'll hold you to it. But I
Interesting, wow.
have a follow-up question on what he said. See, in the sort of card, so they put that little announcement in the most recent Beyblade, like the last Beyblade Burst. They had like a little card showing that next month on the 21st of March, they were going to do something about Beyblade, something new, and on that card was also the free symbols of all the free generations of Beyblade. So you got the Bakuten, which is the plastic Shan. You got MFB, and then you have Burst. You think it's like possible at all that they would like re-release old like Beyblades, or do you think they got rid of all the molds that they just no longer exist?
I'd say it's entirely possible. The great thing about those molds is they're small. It's not a big huge mold, so they're not. It doesn't take a lot to store them.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Versus like big vehicles that they like whatever that big vehicle toys. Those molds
Transformers
are so huge,
and stuff like that.
they end up in the bottom of the harbor in Hong Kong. But the Beyblade molds they may have kept them. So I would not be surprised to see a retro line put out. That happens all the time in toys.
I thought it was interesting that they put like the free logos of the generations, like all of them in the card. They did a really fun thing because, as you know, March is the third month, so it was like free and then a dash and then 2-1, so 21st of March.
3, 2, 1,
But 3-2-1. I thought it was a pretty nifty thing they did there. Exactly. Which, by the way, in English is different. Or not English, sorry. In Japanese, it's actually different. It's go shoot, which sounds really weird, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I like let it rip. I grew up with let it rip. I will always say let it rip forever. Yeah. It doesn't matter if I'm using. Go on.
It's funny you mentioned retro line, Steve. I was actually going to ask, what were your thoughts on when Burst released the plastic Beyblades into Burst style, like Dragoon, Dronzer, Drasil, and Drigger?
I don't know if he knows about that. I'm guessing you're not very familiar on Burst, considering you no longer work for the company.
I'm not total. I mean, I used to know every single Beyblade product of everything that we put out for those first 15 years, but with Burst, I was just sort of admiring it from a distance. So
they basically they made remake. Oh, sorry.
Because I knew those four, and I thought I thought it was great because I like the old stuff.
Yeah, they made the actual last Beyblade Burst product is the V2 remake. So they remade Dragoon V2, Dronzer V2, and stuff like that in Burst, like with the burst mechanism and all that. Which
those are classic tops, right? So
yeah, exactly. If you want, I can pull up a picture really quick as a last thing.
Pearson.
Beyblade Burst V2 set.
Try searching up like 2023 set.
I don't need to. I'm a fucking pro. There you go. See, I'm a very violent person. I'm sure you've noticed. Seti. Seti. Let's see if there's any picture. Yes, I'm in Portugal. Thank you for revealing my location.
I have your address.
I have your address. I have all of your addresses. I even have your address. So yeah, here it is. Here's some of the Beyblades, for example. They released like their launchers to look similar to the old launchers as well. And this isn't the only set. There were 3 other sets for Plastic Gen, and there are 2 sets for Metal Fight.
Okay.
Here's the V set, and then here is the the season 1
Basically, they release these sets in tribute to the anniversaries for each season.
So the 10th anniversary, the 20th anniversary, and it's as you can see on all of these, there is an image of like a manga thing. That is because the first generation is technically continuing in a manga. It's called Beyblade Rising. So it happens after the events of G Revolution, if I'm not mistaken, and they moved on to Burst. So that's the whole new thing. And here is the signature of the Takao Aoki, I believe, who actually made the first manga of Beyblade.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is also doing this manga. So that might be what they do, actually. You know, that'd be neato as well if the new thing would be this. I wonder, do you think it would be highly, or do you think it'd be possible at all if they actually make an anime of this, that they would try and get the original cast for it? Like that they did, like, you know, since it's the same characters? I don't find it possible because, you know, they've grown up quite a bit and stuff like that.
Problem is that most of them have retired from acting and voice acting, like the voice of Tyson and Max and Kenny and so on and so forth.
By the way, Steve, the voice of Tyson, I don't remember his name, but I was so used. I was
Marlo.
I was so used to hearing him like in Beyblade. Then when I heard them do another anime which has like profanity and stuff like that, I was like, "What the fuck?" What?
You heard the voice, yeah.
I was like, "This isn't right. This sounds like Tyson. Why is he swearing suddenly?"
That's right.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if they'd try to get that original cast, but if there, you know, if there's enough nostalgia for it, it's, you know, it's worth them looking into. But yeah, it's sure it's whatever makes for the best show and the easiest for them to get it done.
Yeah, and most profitable. Yeah. Company basically.
Like I'm not saying they won't get the original cast back, but because
it's unlikely.
Considering that the dubbing rights have gone from Canada to now the United States, and now they're pretty much getting new American voice actors to voice the Burst characters now instead of getting the current ones from season 1 and season 2. And pretty much like with newer anime remakes like Shaman King, they only got a few of the original voice actors, and they only recasted the main character, which is I think Yo was his name. And
I don't know.
He's now voiced by a female. So I don't think that they'll bring back like Marlo or Daniel or some of the others back if it were to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
David.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for like shows like Dragon Ball, it's been the same characters pretty much constantly, both for dub and the sub. So, but yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see, really.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think industry-wise, it's the voice actors aren't as well respected as probably they should be, because I think they're awesome.
I thought it was actually pretty good considering the fact that they were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually like one of the first animes, to my knowledge, that have like the voice actors are little kids instead of being like middle-aged adults.
Right. Sure.
The thing is the English dub of Beyblade, they made all the characters have like more of a unique personality to them. You know, it just goes well. Tyson is supposed to be the cocky one. Kai is supposed to be the laid back, relaxed one. Matt's supposed to be the friendly boy, and Ray. I still can't figure him out sometimes, but you know, I don't know.
That's his character. You can't figure him out. But you make it sound like that's not how they were done in the sub. I mean, I watched the sub and it was pretty much like that. So
I can't really hear it. Or
I mean, you never watched the sub fully, so shut up. You have no say in this.
Okay. Last question. So, whatever happened to the bug Beyblades that was?
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask that.
Oh yeah, I was actually. It's a good thing you mentioned that, Dragoon.
Shall I bring up a picture to see if I can jog your memory?
Yeah, I don't have that memory.
So, Beyblade was actually gonna continue with Plastic Gen, but it was gonna be
Insects.
bugs. Yeah, Beyblade Insects. which never really went anywhere. But this is the only picture we really have. Well, I have
Two
some.
pictures.
Yeah, these are the only 2 pictures we have of it. As you can see, some of the models were actually, it seemed like they were based on pre-existing Beyblades. Like you can clearly tell that this one right here is Jean's V2.
Yeah.
But slightly modified. But yeah, it never. These are the only like images that exist of it.
It was supposed to be like what 2005 or something.
2005, 2006.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is that the brand had gone so high and it was dropping, and it was just doesn't matter. Everything was going away at that point. So
They were losing interest. Yeah, it makes sense. It is what it is. To be
Also,
fair, I'm not
it
too
would be totally weird if they transitioned from HMS to
plastic
bug
gen
themed
again. Yeah,
Beyblades.
yeah.
considering they seems to be using the plastic gen systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like another thing is like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
you can
we're
tell,
transitioning to Secret Beast, like a dragon and a phoenix and so forth, to bugs.
Bugs. Yeah, it's a little bit of it's evolving, but just backwards kind of thing.
Yeah, that's probably just was a concept they were working on. I'm surprised.
Beyblade insect. I wonder if that's what they would be called in like the Hasbro version. Beyblade.
Bugs.
Bugs. Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably did see that, but I do not remember it. That was.
It is. Maybe that's what they'll do. March. If they do that, I'm gonna be very disappointed. I'm just gonna say.
Like they just continue where they left off.
Yeah. Just hey, here's Plastic Gen again, but it's with bugs now. I have phobia to bugs, so not my thing. All right. Anybody else have any last questions, or can Mr. Steve go rest?
Yeah.
Oh God.
How much did you have a hand in kind of designing the packaging, or was that not your kind of area?
Packaging, not much other than I had a very close friend who was doing the packaging. He was working with me, and I just let him go with that. But the product design and package design are 2 separate departments, so we didn't overlap.
Yeah, because
we were doing something like we had an idea for 2 Beyblades in the pack once, and because they were on the sprue, so you could put more plastic in there, and we were trying to work out how to do that in packaging once, but that we didn't go anywhere with that. But yeah, I was not really involved with any of the development of that. I just helped comment on it when it was ready.
Okay.
Yeah, because like the packages or the boxes at least were very, very like interesting to look at. Like whenever we go, like one of us would go to like say a Toys R Us or something, and we would come across these. We're like, oh wow, look at like the design of these boxes and whatnot on the packaging.
Mm-hmm. So actually, the one package I did have some input on is when we did the gold foil packages. I don't know if you guys saw those.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I suggested some kind of gold foil or just metallic, and so that was my one input on packaging.
Was the hyperblades were half one color, half the other? Was that your idea, like the color combination?
Yes, that was my idea.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Some of them
Even
were
like
interesting.
Phantom Force, was that also your idea as well?
And
one?
Metal Masters as well. Sorry to just jump in.
The one where they're kind of like part kind of holographic, or not holographic, but like
Transparent.
Transparent, yeah.
Gosh, I'm not sure about that one. I was probably involved in that, but I do remember definitely the hyperblades. I was figuring out what color combinations would look like when they spinned, and picking colors that complement each other and things like that. So we're trying to make how would you put out old tops and make them look fresh? That was the idea.
All right.
Okay.
So you already knew the voice actors, so let me get. When you're like in your room like designing some bays or whatever, just talking Hasbro exclusives, do you like hear them like screaming from the top of their lungs saying like "Go
Dragoon, attack Tronzer! Just screaming the special moves and whatnot. Just do you hear?
Not really. No, I mean, like I said, I did watch each episode, and I did like
Okay.
it. The voice actors I met, I thought they were cool, and we had a good time with them. But yeah, I didn't really. Other than that, not part of the process.
And you've met all of them, right? Not just Daniel, right?
I met Daniel, and we met the whole cast at one event. The only one I really spent time with was Daniel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We did that whole day at the tournament and shot a bunch of video. Well, you've seen it.
Okay.
Was that at the NASA Space Center? Or was that somewhere else?
Yeah, that was in Texas.
Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. And then was that the World Championship? I'm trying to remember. That was in New York? Yeah, the World Championship was in Times Square. That was
I thought it was at Toronto, or I'm thinking of the 2003 one.
Oh, you're right. One of them was in Toronto. That was the one in 03 was in Times Square. The one in 2011 maybe or 12, that was in Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for the finalists, would you guys at Hasbro present them with the newest system first before it was released to the public, or?
No, they brought their own tops that they had their own collections. And we had to go through and inspect. So I was one of the judges, and my counterpart at Takara was another one, and I basically let him because he was more involved with the day-to-day details of developing the tops. But we would check to make sure they hadn't been modified, that the weights were correct, and
Basically,
all that
they
stuff.
were tournament legal.
Yeah, they're tournament tournament ready.
But you pretty much
been-
gave those new systems as prizes. I mean, or
I don't remember that being part of the prizes, but I know they did get a gift pack, but it was probably existing stuff that hadn't been released yet.
okay, yeah, because
And-
I remember in the that tournament video from the Fierce Battle DVD that one of the three finalists got prizes of Beyblades in the stadium and whatnot.
Yeah. That I would be surprised. I mean, honestly, I don't remember giving any of the kids sneak peeks or
Private
stuff that had-
info.
But
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. But I just don't remember. I think it was all just existing product that they put it in the gift pack.
Okay.
Yeah.
There were before there was lots of people used to say things used to go to when Hasbro made stuff went to Germany, for example, first. Was that true or for release, or I don't know if that happened or
Distribution was not my strong
I mean,
suit.
that still kind of happens. Sorry to jump in. With Transformers and stuff, there's people have leaks of products, if you will, that have already arrived there. But because same thing with games, some games become available sooner than they're supposed to because stores get them earlier than because they live in different parts of the world and they have to send it to them. I remember that there was this whole controversy with it. Yeah, it was with God of War, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you're familiar with the series, Steve.
No, I'm not. Sorry.
But basically, yeah, that is perfectly normal. Sometimes, some countries get mostly over here, in Europe, rather than where it actually, where the toys are made. But because they have to be sent over here. Sometimes we get them earlier in the shelves.
I do know logistically it's a challenge to get everything out to everybody at the same time, and it's something that whole armies of people dedicated to that, and it was never people were never happy with it. I remember that.
Oh yeah.
So, and that that continues to this day, but it's just you can imagine how
Not fun.
complicated it is.
Not fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can say that your job is probably funner than theirs.
Well, I'd say I'd much rather do my job than figure out how to ship,
Products
waves
overseas.
products to different countries and hear all the complaining about, who
Yeah.
gets it and who doesn't. So yeah, I'd much rather do what I do.
Any other questions?
I don't know. I think most people would.
Well, I appreciate you guys sharing your love of Beyblade with me. It's been cool. Like I said, it's always great to know what you do is enjoyed by other people.
I mean,
Yeah.
keep in mind that I, of
They
course,
make-
love Beyblade and stuff like that, but I would never put it over like things like health or family. I mean, it's a hobby of mine that I treasure and I like, and I use it to grow as an individual. But I don't think it's the end all be all for my life. As so much so that I also collect other things that I like.
Sure, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, we're just a small part of the community. There's the WBO, which like it's the whole website that has.
It's a questionable website.
Well, much like all fan bases have some rotten apples. Even Beyblade is has a few of them. But anyway, that's not the point of this video. Which yeah, I've been recording for 2 hours and 40 something minutes. So
Oh my.
Good luck editing that.
I'm not. If you think I'm gonna cut all of this is gonna be a fucking podcast that's 2 hours and something. I'm not gonna. If you think I'm gonna go through the fucking trouble of editing all this and try to make a short video out of it, you're out of your goddamn mind.
You can trim it to like different segments and whatnot.
I can do like part 1, part 2, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But that wasn't really the point of this. The point is that we got to meet an awesome person who is, etched himself in the lore of Beyblade, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, picking back off you, Grim, I always, ever since my mom gave me my first Beyblade as a Christmas present, I'm just hooked. It got me through life, the hard times of my life, kept me going, kept me motivated. So,
And
yeah,
shit, it was because because of Beyblade I met you guys, and because of Beyblade that I started doing 3D models, and now it's a skill that I own, And
Yeah.
hopefully,
It's funny how basically I met Grim through one of my old unboxing videos, and then I convinced him to make a Twitter, and then
yeah.
he basically met Dragoon, and then the rest is history.
It was because, just so you can see, remember that friend I told you about Japan? Well, the only reason why I met him was because I created a Twitter to talk to that numbskull, Mr. Wolf over there.
And
Because...
I get inspired by Wolf for his cyber Drasil Beyblade, and that got to me to beg Grim to get a 3D model going. So we all kind of inspired each other in a way.
Yeah.
It's an ebb and a flow, really. And also, Cap, he's a really cool dude. He helps us out a lot with parts and stuff like that, and pictures if I need references. For example, with 3D modeling, it really helps if I have the actual thing in hand, because I can take live measurements. It's a thing I can look at in real life. Making it off images is a bit tricky, as I'm sure you can guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Cap is really good in that regard, and he's if nothing else, interesting fella to talk about or to talk to.
Sure.
Thank you. No, but I mean, Beyblade's done a lot for me. I was, a large part of the London scene when it was going on. I used to compete there quite a lot. And collected quite a lot and trying to get every single recolor of all the gear, Beyblades. And yeah, I mean, I've gone abroad and played as well. Met some cool people.
Keep in mind,
Singapore,
Steve,
Hong Kong.
that his collection is biggest out of all of us, and probably out of everyone by a considerable amount. A very considerable amount.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. If he had to do a full tour of his collection, it would be a 9-part video with 1 hour each, probably.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'll have to catalog my collection. I've got some boxes of them in storage. I had so many at one point, but
Hey, if you want to do a follow-up video
Yeah,
or whatever, at some point we can show our collections, quote unquote.
should do that sometime. Schedule something at some point. One
Maybe
of us
next
go through
week.
our
It depends when you're free, honestly.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
that'd be a good thing to do at some
Yeah,
point.
cool.
But yeah, I just want to say, Steve, thank you so much for actually, accepting my request and replying to my message. It's been great to talk with you here now and learn so much. Really interesting. Just want to say thank you so much and like the impact you've had on all of our lives. It's really been phenomenal. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and like I said, thank you guys for being so involved with it and making me feel good about what I put out into the world. So that's really
Your
great.
effort was not in vain. I can guarantee you there's someone out there that loves at least one of your products. So if you see how many people out there love Beyblade, pretty much all of your products are loved.
Yeah, that's part of the fun of being a toy designer. It's really the best part of being a toy designer is like you've had an influence over kids, in a positive way. So that makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's also why I'm doing it, because it'd be cool if I can, as I told you, I didn't have a lot, and if I could, get some kids some toys, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, great. All right, well, thanks a lot.
No problem.
Any other?
I look forward to talking with you again, and I hope we can make that whole making models out of your stuff a thing. It'd be an honor, honestly, but it's up to you.
Okay, yeah. Let me see what I can come up with if there's anything, and I'll let you know. Cause that'd be interesting.
Don't
to
forget.
look through old stuff at the very least would be interesting. So yeah. So thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
no problem.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk with us. We're just
Sure.
some random guys who like toys. Really, there ain't nothing much to us.
Yeah, well, it's really fun to talk to people about toys. I mentioned going to Comic-Con, and that's what we would do. We would sit there and talk toys for hours and hours. And it's,
I never went to Comic-Con, so I wouldn't know.
There's a GalaxyCon I'm about to go to coming up within a month or so.
I never went to any con.
Oh, you're missing out.
Yeah, you should do it.
There is a con over here in Portugal, but it is kind of far away, and the sort of global crisis and what?
No excuses.
Bite me.
Just
You
Fuck
have to
you.
go, regardless.
No.
Steve said you have to go.
Heck,
All right.
me or Draguma or Cap will bring you to one of these conventions, anime or Comic-Con, doesn't matter.
Honestly,
I've
I'd rather
never
go
been
to
either.
anime, but I'm bringing a gas mask. I've been told that it can get pretty stinky over there. But anyway, we're getting really sidetracked. So, Steve, thank you very much. I bid you adieu. And yeah,
Great to meet all of you, and appreciate it. Hope you guys, keep on playing Beyblade. That's great.
fuck yeah. You don't need to tell me twice.
For life.
I'll never forget to let it rip, which that's a reference that those three get, but you don't.
That's right.
Really?
You gotta on that.
It's my outro for my YouTube video. It's stupid.
Okay.
It's an inside joke. What can I say?
Sorry.
But yes,
thanks a lot,
we're
guys.
gonna take forever on this wait. So yes, thank you so much, Steve. I think everybody else can say their goodbyes now.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Thank you,
Oh,
Steve.
you're very welcome.
Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
great to meet you guys. Thanks a lot.
See ya.
All right.
Take care.
Take care. Stay safe out there.
All right, we will. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
See ya.